Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan-Africanism towards Nationhood, building a global Black business pipeline. Yes, family, and you're on live with Bomani Tyehimba and Kala Genesis, the kings of Pan-Africanism. Yes, good day, my good brother Kala Genesis.
Good day, brother Bomani.
Happy 2023.
Yeah.
How was your vacation away from YouTube Live?
Oh man, it was great, man. I went on a couple of shows. I went on Dinah Show twice, and I went on Kazoria's show in Africa Millennial. That's all I've been on. Went on there briefly and so to say my piece and everything. But you know where I got to come to get really. This is the only channel I really get my knowledge off and everything like that. Because I don't really spend a lot of time on YouTube because I'm busy. Busy building.
Absolutely, brother. I've been here at this desk working, all day long. But we just came back from the magical Ghana 2022 Journey of a Lifetime for December, family. The 22nd Journey of a Lifetime to Ghana, 16 years strong. We started in December 2006, and that was December 2022. So yes, Kala Genesis, brother, longevity of repatriation, reconnection, and investment in Africa with our Africa for the Africans brand in Ghana. So yes, brother, just got back a few days from the motherland. So you're in and out making moves. Got groups of people. Got follow up. Got business partners to connect with. Building that serious global Black business pipeline. And making it flow to where you're making movements. That way you're kind of building a consistent bridge.
The pipeline, the bridge.
There we go. So that's what we talk about, family. So giving you a practical connection into that. So as usual, I'm always telling people, come take a journey to the motherland. December is a wonderful time, very busy. Be prepared to be flexible and moving. And beyond that, that's always telling people, just make a connection, build a future of what we're talking about building. Now, me and Kala is working strong in Ghana and Liberia. That's our primary goal and connection. And then, Kala got this vision of Angola, that he wants to connect with more with.
Yeah, so, that's going to come in once. We can't launch Angola from the United States directly. We have to build bases in the West Africa region. And then it's basically adding Angola in the southern region onto what we're doing. So we have Africa to Africa, the diaspora in West Africa and the diaspora in Central Africa working together. That's the way it has to go down.
Yes, brother, man.
Then it can't be stopped. Can't be stopped. Let me tell you something, folks. People underestimate African Americans and stuff like this. We had everybody come at us, the Afro dumbasses of the world, and recently Akon and everybody else, but people are still doing what they're doing. You got the Bag family still there, in Gambia. You got people still doing what they're doing, people still going to the continent, people still building. But tonight we want to talk about why some people are failing and what they could do to rectify it. We don't want to discourage anybody from going to the continent, but we just think that you could basically do it better with us, if we're organized, and we could do it better if we're organized. If we're not organized, right, if you go on some individual stuff, right, what's the difference? Everybody talks about Ubuntu and we're a communal people and everything. But when it comes down to money and pulling out $1, right, that communal stuff goes out the door. I'm on my own,
Yeah, brother, it's a real story, man. I've lived that life and lived through it. And that's why I'm your best consultant for people looking to live, do business, and do things in Africa, beyond just our tours and our investments. Because, you have lived in that world of, you see certain things and, you see a lot of people come and go, a lot of people are even right now talking about they're going to be doing tours and land investment in Africa and many things. These are just not things you just jump up and just get into. You gotta put the work into this, knowing what you're getting into. So my survival of this making these moves in Africa over the last 16 years is building a strong network. It's serious. When I'm telling people a strong network of people where we literally just got each other back like that, to where we can just trust each other on certain movements, because we have to help each other. And we have to, work with each other if, we want to just, make it. Other than that, you become, you become like a sitting duck, or you become like, somebody that's out there where you're easily targeted, or people just can work over you. But if you have a strong network, people can penetrate your operation. So it's a serious business, brother. I've seen some of the best come and go, and I've lived to tell a tale. So and you just gotta, it's like basic networking and going somewhere and you're building relationships and you kind
Yeah.
of go. But people are not doing that. People are not putting the work into certain things.
Yeah.
And you run into people, fast talkers.
Also, we have people that go to the continent, right? And when somebody from the diaspora gets in trouble, and instead of basically being in a situation where a person could have, you have a group there where they could come to and say, hey, look, I'm in trouble, I'm a financial or whatever like that. What can we do? We don't have that support system. So the people, it's happened in Tanzania, people fall on hard times. You got people out there, even from the diaspora, that are homeless in Africa, begging in the streets, they fell on hard times and everything. There's no support system. You're not building communities. You're not building things where people could access certain things like housing and shelter. Whatever happened to the time where when people used to come from another country, they would always have an auntie or a friend that they could stay with till they get on their feet. But I'm seeing too much of it. Instead of people being able to get their money right and everything like that, they're hitting the ground running. On day one, they want to buy land and start building a house. You know, what about basically getting yourself set up in a country? What about basically living with somebody for a year? What about basically making networks and connections and stuff like that, making sure this is what you really want to do, this is what you can do, and being real about yourself, about the situation, instead of acting on emotion. Now we got the East Love and Migrate. She's coming back. I seen her in a video, right? And it looks like she's in South Africa. She changed her name again, and she's in South Africa. Talking about getting into real estate. She left. I don't know where she was at, Ghana, Sierra Leone, whatever. I don't know what she said she was at. I guess she was in Ghana again, and she was with some guy. And then she told she did this. Well, I'm going back to the USA, but I think she's in Ghana, right? All this kind of nonsense. And then there's an old saying: "A thought unspoken dies unborn." In other words, basically, if you go to the continent and it didn't work out and fail, why do you need to put that on YouTube? Okay? Why does the world have to know your transgression? Why do you have to use that to discourage other people and everything? Instead of saying, look, this is what I did wrong. I didn't do certain things right. This is what you could do wrong. This is what I learned from this and everything. It's just like, oh, this is just life's just too hard for me. But if you said on record saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to build this, and next thing you know, you just don't feel it anymore. And so therefore, this is what we see, people going to the continent for the wrong reasons. A lot of times people go to the continent thinking that, okay, they're sick and tired of police. Well, Africa has police. Well, I'm sick and tired of all these rules and laws. Africa has rules and laws that you're going to obey or you're going to pay the price. I'm sick and tired of this fighting and strife and everything. You're going to find that in Africa too. Remember, you take you with you. So therefore, if you're not prepared to deal with the adversities and everything, then just don't go, And also, the best thing you could do is when you're in the country, right, connect with like-minded people with like situation that can give you guidance and things. Don't be competing with each other when you're in a country. You should be working together. We got this group, we got this group. We should be coordinating together. How can we build an investment fund? What about healthcare? What about what you know? What can we pull together that we could all use? Swallow your pride, swallow your egos, and that's what it all is about. What it runs down to, ego. I don't need Bomani anymore. I'm gonna do it myself for now. I'm gonna be the next Bomani. I'm gonna be the next Kala. I'm gonna do this. I don't need them and everything like that. And then it looks good for a while, and then when people see you on YouTube and like, oh, this guy got it going on, then like they said about Oakland, there's no there there. You really don't have the connections. You don't really have the resources to help anybody. And so therefore it just gets washed under the rug again because, all people are forgiving, 6 months, it'll blow over. And what I'm saying tonight is this making our community, because there's people that are really dead set against what we're trying to do. There's people that while you're thinking, okay, it didn't work out, I'll just move on and everything. But there's people taking notes. There are people that are basically waiting for something big to happen, and then they're gonna spring it on all of us like a thing. I don't know. But the thing is, though, even if she was joking, I don't think she was joking. I looked at the video. Why would you say something like that? Why would you say something like that? Why would you say, well, I'm leaving Ghana and stuff like that? Why does it have to be on YouTube? I don't understand that. Why can't you basically live on the continent, right, and not worry about YouTube stream for revenue and stuff like this? Why does the world have to know everything you do? Why can't you show a finished product? Okay, why can't you say, okay, this is what we have. We built this life over here, and put up a clip once a month or something like that and say, this is our beautiful life, everything. Why is it that every last single transgression you have to put on YouTube, for people to consume? What have ever happened to privacy? I don't understand that. I'm a very private person. I never put videos of me riding around town and day-to-day life and everything like that, because that's not anybody's business. What you see from Kala Genesis is what I choose to share with you. This part of my life, this is I'm a Pan-African nationalist and everything like that. I'm a Pan-Africanist, I'm a nationalist and stuff like that. So that part of my life I'm sharing with the world. But my personal life, with my family, my wife, my fiance, and stuff like that, that does not get on social media. Okay? Why? Because I take what I do, I take myself seriously. This is not fun and games. Okay? And when I deal with people and everything, I like dealing with people that I know are serious. People that are serious keep their personal business outside of YouTube and stuff like that. They're not putting all their business out in the streets. Remember that back in the day, they say, don't put all your business out in the streets. Don't air your dirty laundry in public and everything. Social media is destroying this. Social media is destroying this. And what gets me is we got a lot of people that have a lot of success on the continent. They're on YouTube. They're just doing what they have to do, living their life and everything like that, making the connections and everything. And they're serious. And also, when you put people on social media, you go around these countries and you're putting people on social media, you're exploiting them. They don't want to know. Somebody at the sister at the fish market, right, cleaning fish and whatnot, she didn't ask to agree to be on YouTube with thousands of people knowing who she is and stuff like that. You don't know who's watching that. When you put children on social media and stuff like this. I'm sorry, I have a real problem with this. So it's like we're becoming like the white people. You're going over there, showing your stuff out. I get it. You're excited to be on the continent. And you want to show people and stuff like that, but it has to be done in a more tactful way. It can't be like all this, exploitation. For fun and views and stuff like that. And a lot of times, these people are not mentally stable. And it's giving the impression that people who are trying to go to the continent got mental issues. And so this is what we're talking about tonight, folks, And like I said, we would like to have a discussion about how we could do this. But I just get the impression that, people are not trying to build anything. If you didn't build anything in America, it's easy for somebody who does not have anything built in America, don't have a career, don't have family, don't have friends and everything, and they go to Africa. I was going to go to Africa. But when they go to Africa, they find the same thing. They're not building anything. They're not really making any connections. It is loners, and people like that. People sense on that. When you go to the continent, we should be able to start bringing our best and brightest. Our people that have got skills, the people that are organized. And we should be getting behind those people at the highest level. But we don't do that. We don't judge anybody by, okay, this guy has a business group. He can really do this right here. he's interested in coming to this part of Africa and doing business. Let's get behind him. Let's learn. Let's follow up on him. We don't do that. We don't give that person that respect. Because he doesn't have a YouTube following and everything like that, he's not popular, he gets ignored. And who gets on YouTube? We're not the same clown people that keep doing the same dumb stuff, you know, getting all these views and stuff like this and everything. But the people that really doing work that we should be supporting don't get any shine at all. Speaking of which, like Mr. Rosenthal, hopefully we're going to have him on Saturday night. He's going to tell us the progress of the Gold Bullion Bank in Uganda. He completed the one in East Africa with the Congo, in the DR Congo, and he's talking with President Museveni about the Gold Bullion Bank of Uganda, which has got approved. It's got to go through the process. Eventually, we're going to have one in Liberia, you know, in that part of West Africa. So this man is 77, 70, almost 78 years old, and this guy has the stamina of a 20-year-old. He's doing real work, but he's not on YouTube. This man's been going all over the continent, doing major deals, getting major infrastructure projects done with governments and everything. And he's not on YouTube. He's not talking about him, but he's just handling his business. These are the type of people I support. These are the type of people I'm partners with. You know, I don't have time for fun and games anymore. This is real. You know, Mr. Rosenthal doesn't have to do this at his age. He's well off. He could retire, sit back to a place, but he's doing it. So we're going to talk about that tonight, you know, and also instead of people learning more about who he is and everything, and saying, look, let me take 20 minutes of my YouTube time, which I'm on YouTube 24 hours a day, and let me see if I can interview Mr. Rosenthal. Maybe I could give him some groundswell and support. No, of course not. We got the same freaking people on YouTube talking a bunch of nonsense 24 hours a day. The same people sitting on YouTube, uploading the same thing, eating the same fish, eating the same jollof rice, looking at the same dances and everything like that, and nothing's really being done. The novelty of Africa, that was the 1960s and 70s. We did that. Now it's time, as we're competing with Lebanese, Chinese, these people are coming for blood. These Chinese, these Russians, all these people, they're not coming to play games. They're coming for blood. And also, I want to talk about the U.S.-Africa Summit. It goes back to what I'm talking about thing. And like I said, people always ask me, try their best to get me to support this. Oh, Kala, man, you got to see the U.S. No. You're not going to get me supporting where we're just sitting around talking a bunch of nonsense and some white businesses and everybody else is actually making the money. They're actually doing the business and everything. And all we get to do is cheerlead the same old, same old. We sit back and while we're sitting here trying to build and everything, nobody says, you know something, what about the African Americans living on the continent? Could they be an asset to what we're trying to do? What do they need? Of course, we need backing, funding. We need guarantors for projects and everything like that. Has anybody reached out to the BAO and everything who's really organized on a social network that could reach all over the continent? No. Who did they reach out to? Roland Martin. Some other clown that we don't know about, you know? Mayor Adams of New York City. What the hell do people know about the continent? Did they reach out to people, Mr. Rosenthal? No. They don't even know who these people are. So how are you going to come into a Pan-African world? What just tells me is they're not trying to push Pan-Africanism. They're trying to push American imperialist agenda in Africa, right? And we'd be stupid enough to call it Pan-Africanism. What's going on, brother Tino? So this is what we're talking about tonight, you know? Everybody basically wants to talk about Pan-Africanism, but everything dealing with Africa is not Pan-Africanism. Let me tell you that right now. If it's not building from the grassroots, if it's not building infrastructure, if it's not building pipelines, if it's not building trade, if it's not building institutions and stuff like that for Africa to stand on its own, it's not real Pan-Africanism. Putting U.S. bases in Africa is not Pan-Africanism. Africa being using Africa as a proxy war against Russia and China is not Pan-Africanism. I'm not going to compromise. Black people, Africa belongs to the Black Africans, period. Now, if you support the idea of an Afrikstan, you support the idea of, people always ask, well, what do you call it? What do you want or not? No. Let me tell you something about reparations. Reparations is another Negro stalling tactic. Reparations will be the diaspora being able to build a new state, a territory of their own on the African continent, and build that and everything. That would basically be reparations. Reparations, then reparations will come once we establish ourselves on the African continent, and it'll be done by force. We'll say you're going to pay this country's going to pay this one's going to this, or you're going to be locked out of everything we have in the continent. We're going to stop flying your planes here. We're going to cut you off. You have to be in that position of power and strength. But what they're doing right now is they're going beyond. They're trying to erase the African slave descendant from the equation. You notice how Dr. Arikana, one thing she does, right? She sounds good, right? But she never mentions the transatlantic slave trade as far as Europeans. She always talks about colonialism. And a lot of Africans are slick when they start talking about colonialism, and they never talk about the Atlantic slave trade as far as Africa's problems. Africa's problems is due to the transatlantic slave trade, not colonialism. That was well known for decades, that Africa's backwardness, Africa's that suffered because of the wars and the underdevelopment from the transatlantic slave trade. Let me give you an example. In 1600, I would say Asia, Europe, and parts of West Africa and East Africa were pretty much on the same level. Then you had this period, right, where Europe rose. They became more powerful. They got richer. They built these cities, port cities of Lisbon, Amsterdam, Madrid, and Liverpool, and all these cities were just backwater, disease-filled cities. How over 200 years from the early 1500s to the 1700s, these cities became so rich. At the same time, Africa had cities at the time, big metropolises, they all started dying out. Africa became unstable. That was a transatlantic slave trade. So you had no growth, wars, and backwardness and degradation for the next 200 years, while Europe had all this wealth and growth because of the wealth they created through the Atlantic slave trade and the wealth they created through the new colonies in the West. It was a transatlantic slave trade that damaged Africa, not colonialism. Don't listen to the Negropean. The Negropean wants you to believe that the colonialism is the only thing Africa has to worry about. No, it was the Atlantic slave trade. It was the sentence of the transatlantic slave trade was the biggest crime in world history. Now I say, Kala, are you minimalizing colonialism? Yeah, they went through a lot in colonialism, but look what they gained from colonialism. They got cities. Look at all the cities they were built during colonial times. Kinshasa, that was built by the Belgium and the French. Look at Johannesburg. Look at Cape Town. Look at Nairobi. Look at Kampala. All these cities, the railways that were built. Colonialism did that. Show us what we gained from the transatlantic slave trade. Nothing. We have no land to claim for our own in the West. There's no real African states in the Western Hemisphere. Look at the Monroe Doctrine. Anything in the Western Hemisphere, all you see is poverty. You got whole villages and cities of Guatemala. People are leaving and coming up to the border of America. America has never done anything but leave poverty and misery in its wake. At the same time, look at Asia. Asia is built. Japan and China and Korea, South Korea, starting with Japan with the Meiji Restoration and Enlightenment. Japan has now helped its former colonies and territories in Asia to rise to its level. Singapore's GDP is higher than its former colonizer, Great Britain. not GDP. It's per capita income. You look at Malaysia, you look at Thailand, you look at Vietnam, once ravaged by the United States in the Soviet Union in the Cold War. Vietnam is not producing mega cities. At the same time, Africa has not progressed since the colonial times. So don't tell me it was colonialism. Africa lost because a big portion of its population is outside of Africa. And Africa has never done the right thing in making sure that people have a safe passage to come home. Not under these colonial, we have to redesign states and laws and territories. We can't look at the Berlin Conference and say, come home, and we're under the British Commonwealth, the French Union, and all stuff like that. We do need to rebuild the continent based on the fact that there's 200 million people in the West, right? That need to be able to come to the continent, build new cities, states, territory, and build the African continent from within. Other than that, what you're going to have is the Chinese are going to come in, and Africans are going to be spectators in their own continent. So this is what we're talking about. If you don't have that idea of an Afrikstan, of building Africa-like thing, then you are wasting your time. And people get shocked. They're like, man, I see this, I see that. Why did he do this? Do you understand that most of the educational system in Africa was given to them by the colonial system? That a lot of these people in Africa really see themselves as part of the British Empire. You see all of them crying at the Queen's funeral. This is real. That a lot of these people in French Africa speak French, and they're more francophone than the average Frenchman. That's real. That translates to culture. That translates to geopolitics. We have to look at that. We have to look at that when we start assessing where we're going to strategically. That's why I chose Liberia as a place that we need to launch from and be our beachhead for the time being, because Liberia does not have a history in the colonial system. Liberia, for the most part, was settled by Black people from the United States, the Caribbean, and beyond, and recaptured Africans at sea. So therefore, the culture is going to be naturally a Pan-Africanist or Black cosmopolitan culture. There's nothing to be holding to the British. They're not going to be holding to the French, the Portuguese, and all these other people. So that's a place where our message could manifest itself to the rest of the continent. And then you'll see that this message of Pan-African will spread. If people have to see a working model. I look at Kazorian's show today. These guys are going at it, talking about the Horners of Africa, talking about we're going to take over you Bantus, you dirty Bantus, back and forth. All this stuff, the very gutters of Black civilization is coming out. It's like, let me tell you something, folks. And like I said, I was on a show with this guy, this clown Mike O, the other day, and it dawned on me, right? And me and Rifleman was on the show, and it dawned on me after the show, right? He said, well, we can't come together based on color because we don't see color in Africa. The reason why is because you've been taught to hate your race and color. Black people are taught to hate their race and color. We don't see value in that. So we go by other things like how we dress and culture and everything. For the Europeans, right, he sees color. An Italian, a Spaniard, a Frenchman, he's still a white man. That's how they see the world. You're a European, you're a white man. Before you're an Italian, before you're a British, you're a white man. The only exception was Germany. Germans thought they were superior to other Europeans. And so therefore, the Black man, right, he's going against a unified race that's all about winning. There's a French head of state that did a show. I'm going to see if I can find this, Bomani, right? He described Europe as the Garden of Eden. He describes Africa and Asia as a jungle. He says Africa is a jungle, Europe is the Garden of Eden. He says we cannot let the jungle we can't let the jungle people turn Europe, the Garden of Eden, into a jungle. That's what they think about you Africans, black people, us Africans. That's what they think about my mother continent, a jungle, a place of chaos. They don't care about millions of people being refugees. If they can steal minerals out of Congo, if they can import guns in to kill people, they think that's the natural state you're supposed to be in. We've accepted it. Not just Africa, in the inner cities of America. We've accepted chaos. We accepted the jungle as our thing. But you cannot accept the jungle and call yourself the authors and builders of giving the world of civilization. It don't work. If you believe that black people brought civilization and everything, we have to start acting like that and reject the jungle mentality. And what is the jungle mentality? I see another black man and whatnot, I want to tear him down. I want to rip him to pieces. You know, everything you see, these people on YouTube are not, the black African Americans are coming to Africa. Don't say nothing about the Europeans who are molesting children and taking what they want to, stealing minerals and building, selling weapons and doing all this stuff like that. Europeans can do whatever they want to do in Africa and they get a free pass. But yet you let somebody from the black person from the West or another part of Africa come there, you want their blood. That's what I mean by the jungle mentality. So even when white people live in Africa, right? The whites in Southern Africa are living in the Garden of Eden. The blacks in the Southern Africa region, look at how they're living in the townships in Johannesburg and everything. They're in the jungle. So you could be in the Garden of Eden in the jungle, even in the same country. Every last single country you go to, you'll see your white people, white communities there, particularly East Africa and Southern Africa. They live in the Garden of Eden. The black people, the jungle. Anything can happen. Okay, kidnapping, rape, murder, theft, whatever. But Europeans have no problem. There was a fat white guy that got on TikTok saying black Americans wouldn't like it over here, but he's over there. Well, let's examine that for a minute, right? What is he telling you? He's telling you that stuff that can happen to you won't happen to me. Because Africa has never been redeemed. We've never redeemed the mother continent for ourselves. Marcus Garvey said we need African redemption, not African neocolonialism, not African friggin' what kind of crumbs can I get from the white man's table? We need African redemption. And I'm not going to go along with anything that I see that doesn't involve African redemption. And we have to shut the continent off for 20 years and starve. It's better than living on our knees like slaves. If we don't get another dime from the IMF, the World Bank and everything, and suffer and fight this out, it's better than living like slaves. It's better than leaving this burden on the next generation. Because we don't stand up like men. And we end up like cowards as leaders for us. So we got a lot to do tonight. We have a lot to talk about tonight. This is a Kala Genesis 2023. I've been kicked off Facebook, two of my accounts, my Kala Genesis page, my Jimmy Zion page. Somebody stole them, done. Hey, that's what it is. They don't want me on Facebook because I bring that heat. I say what I need to say. So I'm done with Facebook. I might be getting on TikTok, communicate people, but I'm really focused on our social network, the Black African infrastructure. It's time. Look, let me tell you something, folks. Let me put it to you like this. Don't tell me that you're serious about leaving the white man live there. If you can't get off YouTube, you can't get off Facebook, you can't get off the white man's platform, don't tell me you try to get off this freaking continent. We have a social network that we could build, that we have right here that's free. We can build and we can connect with each other and everything. We don't need anything else. And the other things is a compliment. We even have black black-owned social media like YouTube, but nobody gets on them. And these are the same people want to preach to you every day about black this, black that. But they don't take the time to build a channel on a Black-owned platform. Going forward, I'm calling out the hypocrisy in this. We got Black-owned platforms, Black-owned websites, and everything. Nobody supports them. But everybody's so pro-Black and everything. Recall, I have a social network site that happened for about 12, 13 years now. The Black African Infrastructure Organization, and I have an app. You can join different chapters. You can create your own groups, do everything you do on YouTube and everything, subgroups and everything. Upload videos, pictures, everything, and communicate with people who are like-minded. But still, people are like, oh, I don't know, I know. But yet they put their everything in their uncle on Facebook. I could go at somebody's Facebook page. They got every thought, everything. This is my uncle said this. This is my uncle taking a shit. This is my. They put their whole life on Facebook. But when you say, look, we got our own social network. Oh, I don't know who might be watching everything like that. But you put everything else on Facebook. You put everything else on Twitter. All your thoughts on Twitter. That's why I'm not giving anybody any credit, any pat on the back anymore, because I'm disgusted at the whole movement right now. You know, I'm disgusted with the hypocrisy, the foolishness, you know. The foolishness, you know. Yeah, Dr. Arcana. Yeah, I don't. Somebody asked Dr. Arcana. I like Dr. Arcana, but as far as like us, we need our own people from that talk from our perspective. She's educated in the West and everything. And it seems to me that, you know, there's going to be another Dr. Arcana. North Africa is still under this neocolonial rule, Anglophile countries, everything. And what happens is she cannot come out and say, yes, I'm happy, because she's a wealthy lady and everything. And everyone's based in the system of the way Africa is right now, which I saw a video, which whole economics, they basically are pushing Africa to the brink. They want coal tan, right? But when you think of Africa mining coltan, you think of, people coming in with machines and everything. No. You got kids as young as 7 years old with bags picking through rocks of coltan for pennies. But that's okay to Joe Biden, because he wants it over the Chinese, not modern mining equipment. So if they're doing that with their coltan, right? What makes you think they're gonna one day? We have this thing where we're gonna take that, we're gonna make products, and we're gonna dominate. No. How it starts is how it ends. If you got 12 and 13-year-old kids out there who should be in school doing that all day, working, sipping these chemicals and everything, sipping through rock like that, they don't have any plans on building long term. They just want that stuff so they can bring it back to their countries and build their own industries up. And we as Black people, I don't, right? But it seems that the Black Africans or the brothers on the continent are allowing this. They're allowing this situation to exist. And Dr. Arcana, bless her heart, she saw for years these situations of African underdevelopment, you know, and stuff like this. The brain drain. The biggest thing Africa has is the brain drain. People like to sit in Europe and Paris and everything. They like wasting money traveling to Europe and everything, talking about Africa's problems. They could sit there and talk to Africa's problems, like Peel them on, but I love them to death, but they'll sit there and they'll talk about Africa's problems to their blue in the face. Oh, Africa. Why does Africa like that? Until there's an alternative. And this idea of building these industrial states and territories where you can bring the best minds back to the continent on a semi-autonomous territories and everything is the answer. Then, until Africa begins to compete, the first thing Africa needs to do is start competing for not. Let me tell you something. The world is in a brain, right? The biggest thing in the world, right now. Let me listen to this. I want you to listen to this carefully. It's not money. It's not dollars. It's not capital. The biggest thing the powers that be that's trying to build have is human capital, human ingenuity. The more you have of that, the stronger you are. The capital and all that stuff like that will work itself out. For example, in South Africa, they give people in Africa, they do give people money to go to college and stuff like that, right? But you know what? They don't have enough money to pay the people. So what happens is you pay somebody all this money to go to doctor, right? He has to get a job in Germany. Germany is feeding its human capital base, you know? That's one more doctor, one more nurse, everything. Same thing happened in the Philippines. You got Filipinos since the 70s dying because they have basic health care. But Filipinos were brought to California. The pool of labor and brain and skills, right? That's why people are drawn to the United States. That's why these countries in Central America can't develop. You can have all the oil, have all that stuff you want, but if you don't have human ingenuity, and how do you do that? First of all, by building industrial zones where people can work and produce, and then bring social place where people can live together and everything. And then when you build all those things, like here, like Dubai built a place, right, where they can do what? Bring human capital, human ingenuity together, because humans are going to do business together. They're going to do things together. And that's how you build civilization. You can have all the money, the oil sitting out there. Oh, Africa has all these resources, everything. Doesn't mean nothing. If you don't have a way how to bring people to your thing, that's what Eco-Atlantic failed. They had the idea of the building the land, like we said, land, infrastructure, and nationhood. Nation is the people. You guys say, okay, this is what we want. And nation builders are very careful about this. Dubai is a good thing because they, you know, international law, you can't really exclude people by race and everything. But you see these new cities being built in Asia. They're competing for human capital and human potential. They got record numbers of people from Vietnam graduating with engineers and everything, and technology and everything. They're bringing them to place. And what happens? The stock markets, when that business group, corporations start forming and everything. It's not rocket science. But when you have people, right, instead of saying, look, how can we basically make a pool where we can bring the best and brightest from the Black America and the diaspora to one particular place, right? This is why the Jagazi community is so important. You know, if we could show that, look at all this talent in one place, you know, intellect in one place. But when you go to Ghana, everybody wants to be here. Everybody wants to be there. We're not showcasing the concentration, a dense concentration of talent and intellect and education in one place. That's how cities are built. That's how nations are built. The social structure. The more people you bring to an area with high skill, high education, intellect, and everything. It's not just skills and everything. You're going to need a literary class. You're going to need people with the arts. You know, you're going to need people in the sciences. You're going to need people all like that. All in one area, you'll see a culture form, a new culture form. But when everybody's on an individual thing, you know, Dr. Arcana, she says what I say, but she had years to do this. She was in the African Union and stuff like that. She says that, but I doesn't see the difference is this. When she talks about the African diaspora, right? She's talking about the legal term. She's using the European term for African diaspora. That means the people outside of Africa, that was born in Africa. She's also talking about whites. She's talking about Arabs that were born there. That's the difference between the definition of Africans. Right? The old Africans were the slave descendants, everybody and everything. That was the old OAU. That was a black power, come from the black power movement, black power. But now the African Union also is done by geography. It's basically includes the Afrikaners, the Boers, people who live on the continent, people who do business on the continent for generations. They're part of the African diaspora. Sharice Theron, the actress, as an African diaspora, according to them. Some person even went so far as calling Elon Musk an African American. Trevor Noah and all those other people, So it's been weakened. It's been demilitarized because the whole thing is we're moving towards this world of, not this world, because the Arab world is bunkering down on the Arabness, right? The Asian world, China and everything, are bunkering down on this is Asia or whatever like that. They say it. Only because Africa and black people are weak, we're saying that, race don't matter and color don't matter because they're trying to take Africa from us. So when you got people like Dr. Arcana talking about, we have all these Africans, we're like, these are people that went to the continent. You're not talking about the African American slave descendants been here for 400 years, who built America, who has a foundation in America. How do you get them involved in Africa? To do so is going to cause conflict with the United States because we're U.S. citizens, rightfully so. So how do you do that? You do that by engaging the African American institutions on a Pan-African level. And it has to make sense. Now, I give it to my people over here. We've been doing the right thing. We got University of Tennessee. You got Howard University. Morgan State have been in Africa. We have all the black fraternities that have chapters throughout the African continent. We've been doing our part for the Pan-African movement for generations. But the problem is in Africa, they still don't get it that this is a race thing. They run to Europe. To them is if somebody's in Kenya and somebody's in Nigeria, they might as well be on opposite ends of the world. They don't see themselves as part of the same struggle continent. I said this about this. Why don't we have an African version of the Pongloy group in Asia? How come we don't have African multinational corporations that could do logistics and build everything? You tell me you don't have enough. We didn't produce enough brain power between Ghana, Nigeria, and these countries right here to have enough engineers, scientists, and everything in one corporation, which we could do also. Why do we have to have Chinese and everybody else build our roads? Between Black America, China, Africa, and everything, why have we pulled the best people from all these people and say, look, we need to build Africa's medical system. This is what we're going to invest in. We're going to invest in so the doctors, engineers, and everything, key people will have that's what you do when you recruit key people. You make sure that they taken care of financially. And you come over, okay, boom, boom, boom. This is what we're going to invest in. But we haven't done that. We let capital flight and all stuff like that ruin the continent. Yeah, she said about black Africans. No, she never. Yeah, that's the problem. She says she talks about black Africans. That's what she's not talking about. African Americans. We're a unique situation. She's not talking about us. She's talking about freaking black people from the diaspora, black Africans, the Africans that migrated here. That's what she's talking about. She's not talking about African Americans. We're just an afterthought. We have a specific thing. She has to deal with us differently. She's never talked about us. She's like, African diaspora and all stuff like this. We're not African diasporans, We're African Americans. We're African slave descendants diasporans. That's a difference. So you can't just like the Africans who voluntarily left the continent, right? Who have citizenship on the continent, who are away from the continent because of war and stuff like that, that's who she's concerned about, rightfully so. But that's not our situation. So when people talk about, Dr. Arcana, and she sounds good for a thing, but, people voluntarily left the continent for better price. And it's not only because they forced to, because they go for greener pastures. You know, instead of building the continent, they choose to go to Europe. They choose to go to Dubai. They choose to go to China. You know, and all you see is Africans going. They're in Cambodia now, and Africans getting kicked out. Nigerians getting kicked out in India. It's like, why are you in India? India is freaking almost as poor as Africa. You know, and then talking about, oh yeah, we're going around the world. And you see them dating European women, dating Asian women, and all stuff like this. You know, and nobody's talking about building the African continent. So that's a different case scenario than somebody basically who is African American or Jamaican or whatever living in the West saying that that's our mother continent. I want to see it redeemed. We're ready to go to the continent. And like I said, I give a lot of African Americans credit in everything. They give up their jobs. You know what it's like to give up your job, your career, everything you saved, and go to a country that doesn't recognize the supreme sacrifice you just made. You know, it's not like you say, like you living in America for 20 years and you were born in Ghana or Nigeria and going back. You know, that's not our situation. You got people that like 25 generations deep in America with no ties to Africa. They're deciding to say, I'm going to move my continent. I'm going to take my chances and live on the African continent, bring my family on the continent. That has to be recognized as something really, really special and unique. Because they're making a really tremendous sacrifice, giving all the safety and comforts of America to live in Africa. And I don't take that lightly. And I don't like people being dismissive of that. You know, I give those people a credit. Okay, I'll tell you about Dr. Arikana as far as like that subgroup of Africa to say, okay, this is what happened. I'll tell the story a million times. You went to our website, you will see the story. I basically sent Mr. Rosenthal to Angola to propose the idea of an Afrikstan city-state, right? This was 2017. And what happened was our partners, the new government came in, and our partners in Angola got arrested. You know, Celeste and her got arrested. Went to jail to the trial, whatever like that. But I was in communication with Celeste from some of her handlers in Angola. And then Mr. Rosenthal at the same time was ordered to leave Angola, right? And he went to Zimbabwe. That's where he met Dr. Arikana, right? And he met with Mugabe. And he proposed a city. He said, look, you know, and then she said, yes. It was right around the time the movie Black Panther came out. And then I said, very careful, this is called the Afrikstan. She said, well, we have territory in Zimbabwe and Zambia border that we can use it for Wakanda City. She started calling Wakanda City. You know, I said, no, it's not a Wakanda City. Then I asked Mr. Rosenthal, okay, now the Afrikstan territory we talk about is going to be governed and controlled and owned by us. But she was like, no, that's not part of the deal. You can't own it. I said, I'm not going to send my people to no place, and we build and we don't own it. We don't control it. That's all. What's the point? You know, the point is that we have our own micro state, micro government, which we can set ourselves up. We can decide what's being built, who gets contracted, who gets we have some autonomy. The black man in the West is the only group of people that have no sort of say-so over anything that goes on in his life. You know, the Africans at least have that. You know, they have that. Even in the Caribbean, they come from societies where the white people are the minority. And they're the majority. The black people in America, we don't have that power. We've never known what it's like to basically have our will enforced on a national level. And what do I mean by our will? When the United States government thought that the USS Maine was sunk in Havana Harbor, the people of America were so angry. They wanted war with Spain, right? Because they always thought America had this thing about kingdoms and empires and stuff like that. And Spain was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So the anger that was built up in America, even though they found out that the explosion was a boiler room accident, they blamed Spain. And we went to war against Spain. We won a war against Spain. At the same time, Spaniards were being killed and rounded up and killed and massacred in America. Why? Because a nation, and it was justified. And then the United States took the Philippines in the Spanish-American War. When a people are aggrieved, right, their will and have satisfaction, a government delivers on it. When the United States was bombed in Pearl Harbor, what happened? We wanted war. You know, same time, the Black man America, we watched the Black Wall Street massacre, right? Were we able to enact our will and seek revenge, whatever like that, against that? No, we had to swallow it because we are in captivity. We have no government. We have no military. We have no power. We have no statesmanship. This is what we want. We want to be able to, if anybody put their hand against us, right, we can strike back. And that's a basic human right. The right to self-determination and right to self-defense. So when I heard Dr. Arikana's counter proposal, I said, no, I reject it. We want to have our own diplomatic channels, right? We want to raise our own flag, right? We could be inside of a country, but they got to respect our autonomy, at least. Expect some sort of sovereignty or some place for us. For us, it's no deal. We're the only group of people where you can basically, why do you think people feel so comfortable talking shit about Black America and there's no consequences? People really feel like they don't have to respect us at all. And now it's been like that with the other people. Now it seems like other Black people feel like they can just come to America, shit on us, talk about us and everything. And what are you going to do about it? But we're so used to bending down and taking everybody's crap and everything. Now it's not just foreign Blacks, but it's even other African Americans. People basically will destroy our cities. They demean our women. Look at social media. All these people demeaning our sisters and everything like that. There's no respect. People have no respect for us as a people. Because that's what we put it out there like. I just want to love somebody, Dr. King. All this kind of foolishness. Because we sat in America, right? And we're like this big spectacle. We're like this big giant that's caged in the zoo that kids are throwing darts at and laughing and giggling while this big token thing is caged. He can't defend himself. He's in captivity. That's what we look like. We're like that big gorilla. Remember at one part in the movie King Kong and whatnot, where they were basically looking at him chained up and they're just mocking him and everything like that. And then he broke those chains. He said, now what? That's what the Black man in America is, right? We're chained to the neck, right? They think with all that stupid stuff like that, they got us chained to the neck, you know? And I'm not going to be chained by white man. I'm not going to be chained by the Black man. I'm not going to be chained by anybody. Right now, I look at all the stuff that happened to us over the last decade, right? Trayvon Martin, you know, Fernando Castillo, Stanley Crutcher, you know, Eric Garner. Everybody's like, yo, Black man, you're chained to the neck. What are you going to do about it? You know, everybody laughs at us and whatnot, you know. Our communities are raging with gun violence and crime and everything like that. We have rogue cops, you know. We have racists all over the place and whatnot. Everybody's waging war against us and everything. Everybody's coming at us and whatnot because we just sit back. We're just so timid. Everybody just do what they want to us and everything like that. No. No more. So when we talk about building and everything, we want to build the continent redeemed, right? Why? Because the Africans that come to our side, understand our story, understand what we go through and whatnot, they're going to be our vessels. They're going to be our vessels. There's a lot of Africans who tell me, we understand your story. We understand your pain, Kala. We understand your anger. And we get it. And so those are the Africans we want to build with. I don't want to build with every African. I don't want to build with Negropeans and race traders. I don't want to deal with them. You know, I want to deal with Africans who understand the cause of African redemption and building the Black race and everything, that we're strong. That one day we can stand, and it won't be in our lifetime, where we're going to meet our enemies in battle and we're going to free ourselves. We're not free. We are not free. But we just sit back and we let this president of Congo, DR Congo, sell us out. And now he's talking about he wants help getting rid of Paul Kagame, an outright freaking race trader, because we can't do nothing about it. Because we have no army, we have no way. We're not like other races of people. See, Putin, this is why I love Putin. He knows that the United States basically, when he took Crimea, and basically the United States is doing provocation in Ukraine, he just said, look, we're going to war. You're not going to build NATO on my doorsteps. That's what it means by being able to enforce your will. Good or bad, anything, war is a natural part of life. The black man has no will to enforce his will on anybody. They can take from us, kill us, murder us and whatnot, and we just have to just brush it off because we're weak. Marcus Garvey said that 100 years ago at Madison Square Garden, and still a shame 100 years later. Now, how the hell did we still go through the same thing? Because the last 100 years, we've been listening to the same niggas talk the same nonsense and everything, and nothing's happened. We have to build that infrastructure. We have to start building nation building. We need our own military. We need all that stuff like that to make people fear us. When people fear you, they respect you. And then what you'll see is everything fall right in line. When your enemies fear you, your own people will get in line. But the reason why people are out of control in Black America and Africa, because there's no fear. They don't have to. You're not feeding them. You're not providing for them. You're not protecting them. You don't give them nothing. So why should they obey your rules in America? Why should they stop selling dope? Why should they stop gangbanging? What do you got for them? We got nothing. That's why this is do or die. Either we build this Afrikstan and redeem Africa, or we will die. Where you at, Brother Bomani?
Yes, brother. Yes, brother. Yes, brother. I'm trying to get somebody to join you. Everybody's scared of you.
What's there to be scared of? You know, ain't nothing to be scared of. I was having a nice conversation. Antonio Mass asked, "What's your thought on U.S. African Summit?" Right. The bottom line is this, right, about U.S. African Summit, right? The United States gathered 49 heads of state, not their ambassadors. They could have used their ambassadors for this shit, you know? They could have sent their ambassadors, right? But the African heads of state know they're going to get a free meal, so they come. I mean, this one, but that's true, right? And 49 heads of state wasn't even in a government official building. It was at the so-called African American Smithsonian Museum. And they basically had lunch and everything like that, and all this, that, and the other thing. Basically, how are you going to minimalize 49 countries and some agenda? They talk about $55 billion for Africa. Also, and then they get somebody like Eric Adams to sell it. And Eric Adams is not thinking about Africa. He does this, right? He thinks he might be on the Democrats' agenda to run for senator or something like that, or maybe even president. Maybe he has presidential aspirations. But Mr. Eric Adams, your presidential aspirations, you're not going to ride on my back, you know? You're not going to push no fake Pan-Africanism. You know, these people aren't serious about no Pan-African and everything. No, it's not. You know, that right there, that U.S. African Summit was a friggin' farce. It was a friggin' farce. And Africans are not stupid. You guys, they wanted to stop Russia's and China's influence in Africa, India's influence in Africa. And the average Africans, after a generation now, see China as a better development partner. And what that's translating into is U.S. foreign policy, you know, can't reflect their will on Africa, you know. And so the last hand they had to play was these the year to return, these African Americans that they want to use and everything for like, what do we, like I asked these so-called African, what do you need the United States for? All we need to know is that the United States don't bar us from flying over there. They can't stop that. That's all I said. What did we need the United States for all this time? Now, to be perfectly honest with you, the United States basically should have had all this time, right? help in that we can get access monies and stuff like that for development. The United States gave $80 billion out of its pocket to Ukraine. $80 billion. And a lot of that money is in the Cayman Islands right now. These guys are just sucking the money up. The president Zelensky of Ukraine don't even have a suit. $80 billion to a shithole country like Ukraine. For what? At the same time, the United States gives Israel 30-something, $8 billion for that little tiny state of Israel. The United States doesn't give money to Africa. They got all these stipulations in Africa for the aid it gives to Africa. And it barely gives Africa enough to freaking sustain itself and everything, but and build itself up build itself up. So the bottom line, you got Chinese coming in with money, long-term loans, and everything like that, and Africa has been getting by without really the United States help. The United States, let me tell you something, folks. You don't know this, right? I'm gonna put you on game. The United States, almost like Malcolm X said, almost incapable of doing the right thing when it comes to black people. Even though it may want to, but the way they look at it, it's like when they see black, right, it's in their white mind that you're supposed to be suffering. You're supposed to be poor. They're supposed to have this. They're supposed to give you charity. They're supposed to look down on you. That's the way they think. They don't see you as a future metropolis that they're going to do actual business with and everything. They don't see you like that. Until Africans wake up from that, they really think when they come to America and they get invited, they sit down, shake hands with the president of the United States, they really think they're doing something. Oh, yeah, I got treated better than African Americans. They found out that I was Ghanaian, and the cab driver said, oh, you from Ghana? Yeah, Black American. If it was Black American, they'll listen to racist stuff by white people. Oh, if you was running these other black and brown hair, I wouldn't have picked you up. But since you're a foreigner, and that fills Africans' head up with this idea that they're better and they're superior. But they don't understand they're being played. See, we realize that. We realize that. So so steer clear of Dr. Ark unless you want to be bankrupt. Yeah, my haircut is really messed up. You know, look, don't mess up my hair, man. You know, don't mess with my hair, man. I'm gonna take care of tomorrow, man. I'm gonna get you a chance to go to the barber, man. Yeah, my hair is messed up. Okay, I get that, but focus on what I'm saying. Stevie, that's a good one, Stevie. I was waiting for somebody. I know. I said, you know something, I should cut my hair before the show, but I took a nap and everything, and I didn't have time, right? I said, maybe they'll cut me some slack tonight. No. There's got to be somebody, man. Stevie want to cut his hair. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. See, like I said, Kala, I got a sense of humor, man. You know, you can crack on my hair, man. Okay, yeah, you know. But let's not lose focus on what I'm talking about, you know. I get it, you know. My hair is a mess right now, but it's cut me some slack, you know. We on Saturday night, right? And my hair will be looking pretty again, you know. Right now, just out of whack, you know. I didn't know how bad it was until I got on camera. I was like, oh, damn, should I go all the way upstairs and cut my hair? Nope, I only got 5 minutes of showtime. Shit, man, just got to deal with it, you know. But, you know, the thing is, though, about the Africa-U.S. summit, right? Eric Adams goes, oh, and I want you people to listen to this and listen to this carefully. You don't listen to nothing I say. Eric Adams said, oh, I would understand America's Africa. Black Africa is not controlling shit in America. You got an African that's the mayor of New York when I talking all this stupid shit, you know. An African is the mayor of Los Angeles. An African mayor of all the major cities. We've always had stupid so-called black mayors in America, man. And every last single one of them is a freaking hellhole. Look, Los Angeles is shit. Chicago shit. Philadelphia shit. Baltimore shit. We're not. So tell me what the hell is a so-called African descent mayor going to do? Now, I want you to listen to this very carefully. Now, New York City, right, GDP is nearly 4 times the size of the whole entire country of Nigeria. New York City's GDP is almost $2 trillion. Nigeria's GDP is like 400 billion. Almost 4 times the size. Yeah, almost 5 times the size of Nigeria, whole Nigeria's economy. That's New York City. New York City alone, 5 boroughs. Now, New York City, right, has a sovereign wealth fund. They have billions and billions of dollars, right? New York City could be its own country. It's richer than most countries in the world. Now, Eric Adams sits on boards where pension funds, wealth funds are loaned out and invested around the world. Did he once mention that the New York City might be a guarantor to a country like Ghana for Accra? That New York City has the best police force in the world. We can basically help these countries in Africa build their police force. New York City has the best engineering, electrical system, Con Edison in the world. You know what I'm saying? Is he talking on that level? No. Because he knows he got unions, he got all like that. He can't just snap his finger and say, yeah. Does he say that, you know, something, we're going to be use our sovereign wealth fund to be pension funds and all stuff like that, to be a guarantor of several select African major capital cities as a sister city project? Did he talk on that level? No, of course not. What is he talking about? He got there and talked about Joe Biden's half-ass agenda, which included on the front pages protection of the LGBTQ. You know, making it easy for American businesses and all stuff like this. You know, and all that, you get $55 billion split up by 50 countries and whatever like that in Africa, and also stop China's expansion in Africa. So Africa's supposed to kick China to the curb, right? Forget about the non-aligned movement. Forget China, Russia and everything. Instead of it being sovereign countries where they can deal with any country they want to, the United States is basically going to take control over Africa's foreign policy. You know, so I would like to know somebody who liked the U.S.-Africa summit. Am I missing something? Maybe you want to jump on the line tonight and tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me what I'm missing. You know, tell me where I got it wrong. Does anybody want to call in tonight? You know, what's going on tonight? You know, why don't people call in, man? Why is everybody, man? Where the men at, man? I want some men to step up here. You know, some men. You know. I said, P Black said, has a difference, man, as far as like slavery. It's when you talk about building Africa, right? And this is build Africa, right? Here's the problem. Unlike in America, right, where I can't even tell you. I lived in Chesapeake now for 4 years now. I'm home here. I used to live in Virginia Beach, right? And for all these years, I know the mayor and I know a couple of city councils. It's been 4 years. I don't know who my mayor is in the city, right? I think it was one time a black guy, you know, but I don't know who the mayor is and everything. The city runs so well. I don't know who the mayor is. I don't know who my city council is. You know, all I know is my trash picked up, the streets are clean, and everything like that. And so I'm very happy with the services I have in the city, right? It's not like that in Africa, right? People know who everybody is. Everybody from a clerk to a legislator, everything like that, president, everything. Everybody watches everything they say because your next meal depends on who gets in office. And Africans covet because the only thing that really pays really well is a government job. So therefore, there's a scramble for resources in Africa that's on a level of desperation. So when we talk about going to Africa, right? I'm not going to go no place where I don't have any say-so over what goes on around me. I'm going to be honest with you. If I don't have any say-so over what's going on in the country, how money is being spent and everything like that, if I have no say-so, here we have town hall meetings. If you're concerned about something, a mall, whatever like that, you can voice your opinion. We have ballots, we have petitions, we have like that. So we're used to that life. And cities like Portsmouth, black people are very engaged in the city. Like the city, Portsmouth don't have the money other cities have, but Portsmouth is basically a black city. Same thing with Newport News and Norfolk, you know, and Hampton, all black, basically black cities. Black people are very involved in everything aspect of the city, right? Because everything from the police to everything, you know, the city manager, everything. These black people out here for generations have been running these cities. They run it, they work together with the whites on land. They fight with the whites, and sometimes they go to lunch together. But that whole thing is this, though. When you ask us to come to Africa, you're asking us to give up the politics and all the engagement that we know. Now, it's easy for somebody like me, because I live in Cypress City, I don't need to. But if I lived in Portsmouth or Norfolk and everything, of course I'm going to be down there and everything, because we're the majority and everything like that, and we would need to know what's going on. But my city right here, I want to get more involved in my city that I live in. Now, I was involved in Virginia Beach and everything, but I just really haven't, the last couple of years, been focused on my business, and this is what I'm doing here. But when you said about just going to Africa and build Africa and whatnot, okay, contract, the African Development Bank. Now, what I'm hearing is that almost no black people ever get loans from the African Development Bank. You know who gets the loans? The Chinese. Well, I thought the Chinese, what they use is the African Development Bank, and they give the money to the African Development Bank. The Chinese, all the Chinese do is they become a guarantor. Let's say a project is $500 million. Chinese write a check for African, okay, I'll guarantee that. The African Development Bank gives it to somebody. Now, Chinese can put stipulation, okay, you got to use our contractors and everything like that to get this loan, right? It's still called the African Development Bank, right? Africa's being developed, but they might have to give it to a Lebanese firm because the African firm, whatever like that, don't meet certain qualifications, right? So what I'm saying is this, so if you go to Africa, if you're trying to do any sort of business, you're on a worse situation than you're ever going to be in America. Because Africa has not built up that infrastructure where we can integrate business on that level. We let the Indians, the Chinese, the Lebanese, everything build our infrastructure on the African continent. You think African Americans, gonna sit back and let that happen without raising anything? You guys, that's what I say. You want us to sit back and be like, "Oh, I'm just so glad to be in Africa." Oh, the Indians owning the hotels, the Indians, the Chinese, the Arabs running everything. They're walking around with black girls at pool parties and whatnot. And an African, he's a friggin' a simp and a fool in his own country. You want that for you think in a million years African Americans will go for that? No, there will be bloodshed. I know my people, you know. That's why I say it's best that we basically build on a level and we'll tell you this is what we need, and everything. You can't just say, just come to Africa. No, because you don't got together in Africa yet for us to come to on that level. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So people are going there. They're thinking it's like America, right? Where black people are in power, everybody in power. That's not like that. He who pays the piper calls the tune. As long as the Chinese and all these other people, the IMF and the World Bank are the guarantors. Now, black people in America, we sit on these cities and everything, and we was able to get our pension funds and all stuff like that, funds and like that we have in America to we become the guarantors of African development. Whatnot, we'll be calling the shots. Then we're in a position of power. But no one is. Oh, you have never heard anybody on YouTube, anybody else say that. Now I hope, because all people do is copy what I say, right? And they run with it and they make it seem like it's their own. But I'm gonna give you that, folks. Go ahead. I just gave you another jewel. Until we use our position in the cities that we control in America, right? The sovereign wealth funds and everything like that. And then somebody said, what about the inner city? We can build them in the cities and whatnot. You know, we got inner city, but some people just don't know how to act. That money will go a long way on the African continent. How do you think South Africa was built? South Africa was built because black institutions in America put their endowments in the South African rand in the 60s and 70s. Black colleges even invested in South Africa, their endowments. Black colleges have an endowment. I think, what's the endowment for Howard University? Let me see. Let's see. But as a matter of fact, there's a lot of African American who do invest in that. Spelman College invested in Ghana and Liberia. You know, some of the endowments in Africa, whatever. We need to do this on a large scale. We're basically in control of Tennessee State University, a major HBCU in Tennessee. So therefore, we have the means to help Africa, but we just don't have the mind. You know, let me see. Let me look up Howard University endowment. You know, stuff like that. Do you even know what an endowment is? University endowment, 2022. Here's a growth. That's still kind of shady. It's grown from $414 million in 2009 to it's double, 839 million as of January 2022. So closing up, Howard is closing on $1 billion worth of endowment. You know, $1 billion worth of endowment. That's Howard. And I'm sure Howard's like the largest. I don't know. Morgan State might be bigger, and what's the other college down in Georgia? What's the other? Morehouse. So therefore, these endowments, right? What they do is they invest in sovereign wealth. They invest money into long-term pension funds, long-term insurance. You know, they invest endowments in the mortgage-backed collateral. You know, all stuff like this. And so a lot of times, let's say if you have an endowment, if you have a guarantor, right? The endowment say, okay, since my money is a guarantor, then I can invest some of my endowment into that country right there. You know, you have a guarantor. Even if you have a guarantor, you still got to get investors. You know, and so that's where we can come in on that level. You know, we could do these things we could do. You know, these things we do. Then you will see stuff. But we're not going to do that, right? And be subject to to mismanagement and tomfoolery, and tomfoolery. You know. Well, the bottom line is this. Must the Kala lead the bankruptcy? Look, bottom line is this. We're working on put that last comment up, Bomani. Are you saying black people go to Africa and tell them how to do? Look, bottom line is this: Chinese go to Africa, Indians go to Africa. If we're going to basically invest our future, our endowments and stuff like that, stuff that we're putting on the line, yes, we have to be at the table. That's been the biggest problem. Black people, they want us to be kumbaya, jumping and shouting, and Africans do what they want. No, it don't work like that. The real world doesn't work like that. If we're going to basically talk about a city sovereign wealth fund and stuff like that, we're going to be talking about that on that level. That's when we're serious, right? Yes, we're going to be back at the table, not telling what you do, but we're going to be negotiating. We're going to say, this is what we see, this is what we want, this is what we want. That's the way it has to be. That's just business. We got to get rid of the kumbaya and start talking about Pan-African as a business. You know, you want certain things, you need infrastructure. You know, we can make that happen. Raphael Warnock right now is like a strategic vote on the United States Senate. Imagine if he had our mind, right? He say, wait a minute here. I've helped the Democrats get all the agenda through. Now I decide I want to be a Pan-Africanist. I don't even care if I get reelected. I got 6 years. I might want to do something else. But those 6 years, guess what I want to see? I want to see those sanctions lifted against Zimbabwe. And we could create the groundswell if these fake ass new black media got behind something behind reparations and everything. You know, that's why I said the reparations is basically nothing but a Negro stalling tactic, right? And we could say, you know something, Zimbabwe, you know, we like to settle black people from America there. We're going to build this, we're going to build that and everything. We're going to get those sanctions lifted off you. You know, we're going to get those sanctions lifted off you. What can you do with us in return? And negotiate on that level. And then if we have Raphael Warnock saying, hey, look, you know, those sanctions need to come. Well, if Chuck Truman, somebody say, no, forget about it, whatever. Because the U.S. sanction is done by the U.S. Senate. The Senate is the one who votes for sanctions. The Senate is the one who votes to remove sanctions and whatever like that. The Senate imposed sanctions on countries. The U.S. Senate is the most powerful government body in the world. And Raphael Warnock is like a tie-breaking vote, a key vote. He could say, look, you know, if you want to pass this thing, see how the Republicans held out with this guy McCarthy? He was about to become a rhino. But they basically say, we ain't going to seat you in that house unless our agenda's passed. Black politicians in Congress don't do that. They just go along with the get along. You know? Mustard seed's a clown. Mustard seed's a clown. Whoever he is, a clown. So therefore, we're saying that yes, on every level and everything in America, if we're going to talk about Pan-Africanism and everything, all our cities that we dominate in America, we have pension funds and stuff like that. What do you think? How do you think Las Vegas got built? Las Vegas got built by Chicago Midwest Employee Pension Fund loans. They built the whole city. Bonds, by floating bonds and the pension funds buying up the bonds and stuff like that, being guarantors and stuff like that, and insurance companies and banks and everything comes in. Once you have a guarantor, banks come in and give you loans and everything like that, and the money's secured, the pension loan secured. That's how Las Vegas got built. Robert Johnson of BET built casinos in the Caribbean using the Baltimore's pension fund loans in Baltimore. So we do have the means to make this happen, to bring real capital to the African continent, on this level. But people have to talk on that level because evidently the last president of Liberia, which we call, was not really happy. So we have again. This is our brother. It's a brother that was in Egypt. Are you the brother that was in Egypt? Your mic's not on, bro.
Okay, yeah. Peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. Yeah, I'm that brother Taller.
What's going on, brother? Long time no see.
What's going on, Kala? No, I've been busy. Been going in the grind, doing what I got to do. Everybody, is busy, I'm sure.
I hear you.
How's it going?
Going good, bro.
Yeah, and it's I sort of video posted, in the in the feed of the YouTube. So I was like, let me go over there and hit up with the brothers. I haven't seen y'all for a while and spoke. But what you were saying, the last I caught a little bit what you were saying, I guess to a question or in the chat. What I see is that people have that mentality. You got different mentalities that they're coming and approaching this issue of going to Africa, African Americans going there and trying to start things and build nation building and establish businesses and help in the rebuilding of African infrastructure, all of the things that need to be done in Africa to make it great again as it used to be in thousands of years ago, if we want to say, as far as the dynasties and the empires and so forth that we know that gave influence to the world, let alone just being where it was, you know what I mean, in Africa, in the continent. So we're striving as a people overall as diasporans and so forth, and the continental Africans to do so. So I think it's that the negative mentality that's coming is because people are afraid, and they still have this mentality of, this slavery mentality, colonialized mentality of that, we can't do any better than what we have already still right now, what we established in the lands that we are diasporans in, or we were put here and grew up through generations as Black people, or, they used to call us Negroes, but now we're Black people and now African Americans and, all these different other terms that we want to use. But we still people who are descended from Africa. So we're striving to come back, and the balance that has to be there, that you can't go there with no plan. You can't go there thinking you're going to take over, and you can't go there not being, like you said, kumbaya, and thinking that you're going to just come here, everybody, let's dance around and have a good time and not get nothing done, and try to work with the people there and establish, like you said, dialogue and meetings and get in the table with the people who are in the infrastructure, who are the ministries, who are the governmental, people, because you can't go into a organization and try to see you're going to go into this organization and you're not going to try to be a part of it. You got to become a member. You got to get in the mix. You got to be able to do something in that organization. Organizations are governments too. Governments are organizations. So, you may not get yourself in the position of being a government official right there, but you have committees. They have committees, and people make those committees in that community that they make. So the African Americans that are starting communities, like you've mentioned about Liberia back when I listened to you guys before, that was done a long time ago, and they was establishing themselves. So So people who have this negative mentality, like, you know, you got the guy who I think he looks like he seems to be trolling there, mustard seed or whatever. But, you know, they bring that negative mentality. Of course, we know how that happens, but we got to realize that the balance is what's needed, because you can be negative, but at the end of the day, you're going to stay in your same situation and be complacent, talking about you're not going to Africa because they don't want us there. All these different negative, you know, narratives that have been coming out and be, you know, continuously coming against those of us who are trying to go there to establish something, like you was trying to clarify, because they think that, you know, what are we going to come and tell them what to do? No, most African Americans, whether they Pan-African or whatever, but they have that want to go back to Africa and establish something, are not thinking about, oh, I'm gonna come and tell them what the heck to do, because it's like you coming in my hood. I'm from the hood. I'm from BX. You come into our hood and you talking about, yo, you're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and y'all gotta just sit and look. Oh no, it's gonna be, like you said, some bloodshed. You know what I mean? So
you're absolutely right. If nobody, that's what they want to make it seem like we're telling. No, we're saying, okay, we're coming to the table. We're coming to the table. Let's talk. Let's begin the dialogue.
Right.
That's why discussions like this are so important, right? So understand that.
Correct.
Like I said, it's all about mutual respect. You know, mutual respect. You
Correct.
know, I said, look, let's say if I'm in the Congo right now, right, and I hear the president of the Congo, even though we have Mr. Rosenthal, I won't say nothing because Mr. Rosenthal has a good relationship with the president of Congo, right? And that's my guy, right? Mr. Rosenthal, they established a Goldbullion Bank. But I am disappointed, right? But I'll hold my tongue, right? For the greater good, you know? When he says that he wants the U.S. involved with trying to contain Paul Kagame. But yet you got all these Europeans who are raping the Congo right now, and you're talking about Paul Kagame, another black person trying to build a country. And I'm saying to myself, if I was in the Congo, I said, okay, I'm a Congo citizen and everything. As a Pan-African American, how do I reconcile that, right? You know, how do I reconcile that? I mean, I'm in this country now, and the president just said something like that, and I don't agree. I strongly disagree. You know, because I'm like this: Paul Kagame and the president should be working together. You know, that's our value.
Correct.
And a lot of times we come to Africa, and you know, and I see a lot of this tribal stuff in Africa, right? We African American, we don't understand it. We say, oh, y'all should come together. But there's people like, well, we got bad blood between each other and stuff like that. And I say, well, why don't you guys work it out? You know, so us is like, work it out. But then again, look at our communities, right? You go to somebody's state, right? Virginia. And I said, okay, the people of Lake Edward, right, don't like the people in Wichita, right? Why y'all hate Bayside, right? We hate them niggas. They like, y'all live not even a mile away from each other. Why y'all hate each other? So
I know that's tribalism.
I say, I see tribalism is big here in Virginia. I said, like, one neighborhood is named Diggs Park. One neighborhood is named Sunrise. Them Sunrise niggas. Them Diggs Park niggas, you know? It's like, y'all right around the corner of each other.
Oh, man.
We hate them niggas. We hate them niggas. Like, yeah. Coming out from New York, right? We're like, what the y'all beefing about, man? You can't hang out with them. Same freaking thing, you know? Tribalism, man. That's it is, but we got to rise above. We need a new people. That's layman's terms, right? But we need people on a different level, you know, that highly the intellectual above us. They should be like that. Let me give you an example. I don't mean to take too long. Sometimes when France and England went to war together, the elites of those two countries, right, they'll fight on the battlefield. They're in parties with each other. They say, hey, our two countries at war. Okay, let's just finish the party. You know, they're at war together. This is they're having these high parties and whatnot. Well, we'll make sure business get like that. You know, they're doing business together on a high level, but the armies got into scuffle and they're fighting on the field. You know,
So, they use their soldiers as the proxy tool to fight. You know, because the leaders are not going to go into the war and fight. Not in these times. Maybe in the feudal days, you had the kings. They would be on the horse and they fighting sometimes. But usually they send their knights. Back then, but today, definitely, you ain't gonna find a president fighting on the forefront. You ain't gonna find the Secretary of State. You ain't gonna find or defense and whatever you know, even the big time brigadier generals and whatever, they're just calling shots. So, you know what I mean? So, but then at the end of the day, they come on the table and they sit down and they drinking cocktails or whatever and smoking cigars and making decisions at a table, a round table. You know what I mean? So all that stuff is redundant. You know, it's redundant. And
what do you
we
think
got to
about
get,
what
like
I
you said,
said about
past that. And,
brother Tabib, what do you think I said about the I
yeah.
said being the guarantor system, you know? And everything's a guarantor. Like right now, the only thing that guarantors Africa really, besides China, is the World Bank and the IMF. What that does is the World Bank will say, you know something, Ghana, like Kwame Nkrumah got the Volta Dam built, you know? We'll be a guarantor to your thing. That's how infrastructure gets built. You have a guarantor.
Right,
Then
right.
you got to pay this amount every year, blah blah blah. And after this is paid off, where that it's a guarantor. That's in the public sector, right? Then the private sector, right, which is a little harder, right? You don't really have the World Bank and the IMF and everything, so you need private capital funds and everything. The World Bank, IMF really just funds essential, vital essential infrastructure, you know, dams and power plants and stuff like that, you know, and stuff like that. That's vital infrastructure and stuff like that. Maybe a road, a bridge, whatever like that. But things that the Africans need to take it to the next level, right? Africa has to generate a tax base, you know, and to me that's important. You got to generate a tax base if your tax-paying people are going to the West in America and paying taxes, right? They need to come back to Africa and work. We have to bring Africa has to bring. If Africa could bring all those people that now call themselves German citizens, I hate that when I see that. Well, I'm a German now, you know, and they're on. I used to think differently years ago, right? You've seen that, right? I'm a German now, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you black, man. You ain't
I don't understand that.
You know, you ain't no damn German. You ain't Irish.
Wow.
You know, and it gets me is I say this, you have a Chinese, he'll live here for 300 years. He never taught me a Chinese, but African brothers, as soon as they go to another country, they completely become what that country is, you know? I'm like, dude, you know, why are you freaking trying to be Chinese? They don't like you, you know? They don't want you there. You know, it's not your job in the world to make them like you. Love yourself, you know?
That's the problem. And that's the problem, is the lack of love thyself, you know, and knowing who you are, you know what I mean? That's like Negro European type of situation. Like you want to hold on to anything European. You want to hold on to anything other than African, because you know the negative, you know, image of what an African is, and even still today, let alone from the times of colonialization and when white supremacy was really pushing its agenda upon Africa, you know what I mean? And slavery, of course. So, you know, these people are still caught and stuck in that stuff to even say that. It's like, I'm like, wait a minute, this is 2000. Now we're in 2023, but we just finished 2022, and you still like have that mentality? Come on. I mean, why do you think there's social media people having dialogues after dialogues after dialogues over the years about returning back to Africa, and you talking about you're German?
Yeah,
you're not African diasporan. At least say I'm an African diasporan, a citizen of Germany at this time, but I'm an African diasporan. At least clarify yourself like that.
They are German. They are French. They're and they're like,
wow.
Germany needs us. Okay, all right. Germany needs you because I get it. They have an aging population, right? You're a medical. You got a good job, right? But you still got Germans there. They never accepted the Turks. Remember the Turks, the German-Turk wars? The Germans, the 6 million Turks. The Turks are white. They wanted them gone. You know, I remember that. There used to be gang fight between Turks and Germans, you know, neo-Nazis and Germans and Turks. And so Africans are going over there talking about they're Germans now and everything. And I'm like, dude, you are not going to be German and everything else. They said race. It's not, and we fall for this idea it's racial. No, it's nationalism. That's German. That's nation. You know, it's they have a right to be like, yo, this is my German homeland. You know, if you're a guest and everything, I would always say, if I live in Germany, I say, look, I'm just living in Germany.
That's it.
I'm a black man. You know, I'm not gonna be like, oh,
that's it.
German that this is not his country. I mean, I mean, the stuff I be hearing. Germany doesn't belong to you. Who does it belong to? that means they could come to Africa and do the same thing. They don't understand that, you know. You got white people in Africa talking about Africa doesn't belong to the black man. If we're saying Africa is for the Africans, right? Then the Germans should be able to say German for the Germans. That's the way I see it. But Africans would rather basically say, look, man, we don't care about what happens to Africa because I like the white man's country better. That's sad.
That is sad. I'm sorry, you got some sound in the background. Sorry.
All good. It's all good. So where you at now?
I'm still in North Carolina.
What background sound?
You sound good.
No, it's like some trucks because I'm at my job. So the trucks, I work in a warehouse area. So they got trucks coming in, pulling in. But yeah, I'm still in North Carolina at this time right now.
What part of North Carolina?
In High Point and Greensboro area, Triad.
But you're too far. You're too far. If you was closer, I come down, shoot down to see you, but you're too far. Greensboro's a
Oh yeah. You say you in Chesapeake?
Yeah, I'm in Chesapeake, man. You know, that's a hike for me, man. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you're closer to me going back to New York, you know, because I haven't seen my family for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, you know, it's something that how the things are going, and then I think the last thing, and I just wanted to say a point on this what was that committee meeting with it was the African they came to America and they sat with Biden or something like this. What was that?
The U.S. Africa Summit.
Yeah, and you know, and somebody was in the chat asking what did people think about it. I'm like, there's nothing to think about because this is nothing new. I mean, African leaders have been doing that for a while, and so you know, those who go there for to get a photo shot and then just be in the midst, and they're not really doing anything for their people. They're not really doing nothing for Africa. You need to have these people come to y'all, and they sit in and you tell them what the heck they're gonna do and how they're gonna deal with you on your account of what you're gonna be having in Africa, what kind of business they're gonna want to come and do and establish. You're not gonna tell me what to do in my own continent, my own country.
They basically gathered 49 heads of state. How disrespectful is that? And not even in a government building, the African American Historic Museum. And then basically just dictating to them, well, you need to do this, you need to do this. Instead of saying, look, that's how disrespectful. See, China does with Africa country by country on an individual basis. That's progress, right?
Right.
The Chinese basically, they know what they want. But like I said, it's almost impossible for the American mind, even worse than any other white people are like, the American mind to respect, because the white man never had to respect the black man in America, right? And the African has this idea that he's going to get the same respect. It don't work like that, you know? America has been bred to disrespect the African. He also have the Native American, he have the Chinese, right? He said he singled the African in North America in his territory for slavery, for race-based slavery. He didn't do that with the Mexicans. He knew the Chinese, he knew the Native Americans like that. The African, he made the world, he told the whole world to hate us because of our hair, our skin, and everything like that. He condemned us to slavery. And that shit by race. He cursed God. God made this beautiful African body we live in. But the white man cursed us. He cursed our women. He made us hate ourselves and everything. And that shit is unforgivable. You know? And the African coming over here and talking about, oh, America's a great country. Yeah, okay. I don't care how much money you make in America. We all make money. But still, the fact remains, America committed an abomination to the black race. You know? It's just like, remember you ever seen that movie Gangs of New York? Remember that movie Gangs of New York? Remember Bill the Butcher, he took Leonardo DiCaprio under his wing, right? But he knew this man killed your father.
Yes.
You know? It doesn't matter. People don't understand that. There was a time in ancient Rome, right?
Yep.
Where the Romans had kidnapped I think the Gauls. There was the Gauls, and they had killed the thing. They took the boys back as babies, right, and raised them as Romans, right?
Right.
And they
Roman
generals, right? but there was something in them when they heard the story, and they went up there and they sided with in the Rhineland, right? And that caused that basically they basically were and Romans completely trusted because they were Romans, right? But something they said, oh, man, what happened to us? And they battled inside. Some of them said, no, I'm a Roman and whatever like that, but I won't give you away. But I got to go back and avenge what happened to my family, you know? And that's what the African
because it's in you. It's in you.
It should be in you. You know, America's done everything. I have a good life in America, but I cannot forget what happened to my ancestors. I'm sorry. I cannot do it. You know? That's in you.
See, you know, when you got some especially blacks that make it to that, what they call making it and having the American dream, and they seem to get it, then they're like, you know, it's hard for them to give that up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they're going to make as much as excuses. Some of them are going to be harsh about it, like this guy Mustard Seed in the chat. But then you have those who say, well, they don't really want us there in Africa anyway, and how are we going to be able to do it? And it's so much. It's going to be so hard, and this and that. And come on, man, you have it hard here.
Yeah, but
you have it hard in the States.
It has to be done.
Harder than anything.
We have to build Africa. We have to redeem Africa. We have to build Africa as a place. If nothing else, even if we don't leave America, we have to build Africa. We have to build a future. That's what they want to do is this, brother. I know you got to go. They want us to completely sever ties with Africa, and that is a no-go. Even if you stay in America, right? You should be. I want to have it so that black people we're trading on African stock exchanges. We're contributing to the continent, right? We're going on their vacation, right? We're sending our kids over there, you know, to go to school. There's a whole bunch of stuff, you know. You may have one son in the military, one son in college. This son's spending his time on the continent. You see what I mean? The three-son theory, I would say. You know, there's all kinds of ways you can contribute to the continent, you know. But that's building ties, a pipeline, a bridge, a connection, right? But they don't want that. I would even compromise. Okay, you in America, that's fine. But what about your son? What about your grandson? You know, don't you want to invest in the continent, right? Don't you got money on the stock exchange and the NASDAQ? Yeah. But what about the African stock exchanges? What about that? You know, where else? Why can't you put some of your 401k in the African investment? There's all kinds of stuff you could do to contribute, you know? But what these people want to do is they want us to have no connection to any place outside of America. The Mexicans are successful because they got connected with Mexico. The Chinese are connected to Chinatowns all over the globe. You know, we're the only group of people they want us to sit here in America and just be tethered to America and everything. No, that's not going to happen. That's all we're doing. We're building what should have been done a long time ago. We should have our own shipping companies on the continent. We should have our own banks. We should have all the stuff like that on the continent. We should have our own real estate firms. We should have our own everything on the continent, you know? We should have our own communities and everything. That's how we contribute to be part of Africa, you know? I'm not saying bum rush the coast. You know, I'm not saying just everybody just bum rush the coast, you know, tomorrow, you know, but build bridges and pipelines and everything. See, they don't even want that unless it serves America. That's what the U.S.-Africa Summit is about. You know, Eric Allen, we're Africans. Yeah. I'm not going to do Joe Biden's agenda in Africa. We have our own agenda for Africa, you know. I didn't see nothing in there that says, you know, we're going to engage the Pan-African community and everything like that. It's all about white people and all this kind of stuff, LGBTQ and all stuff like that. I'm not part of that, you know. So since they don't,
one thing about what America does, or American government, you know, policy, you know, foreign policy, it's just almost like in the same kind of guidelines of IMF. When they're giving money, and that's what he mentioned. He mentioned money. Biden mentioned money, a couple of $1 billion that is going to be allocated. You know, it's promises, and then which create pipe dreams, you know, for these African leaders. And then they're thinking, okay, they're going to get it, but it never happens. Or if it does happen, there's something always at the end of it that they have to give that's going to be costly even more and giving up more. You know what I'm saying? So they just got to wake up. They got to finally wake up. You know, some African leaders have, like, you know, the president of Rwanda, and, you know, you have certain ones that was like, hey, well, they're doing the same thing over again.
Paul Kagame said, "I dared Joe Biden to come in here and remove me from whatever." He said, "Look, I'm tired of the United States talking."
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know, he's like, but
yeah.
yet you got these race traded Africans, particularly ones from the Congo. Oh, you hate
Mm-hmm.
Paul Kagame. I love Paul Kagame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has done
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. He's
You don't see him riding around jets and fancy cars. He's down there once a month
yeah,
cleaning the country and with his overalls. It's like cleaning his country. You know, that's a
yeah.
nationalist.
He's one of the genuine, real leaders, African leaders that I know in our times. You know, besides some of them, there are others. Like what's the other one over there in I can't remember that country.
Magufuli, that was
I'm
it.
not trying to say. Yeah, Megafuli. Yeah.
Magufuli,
Mm-hmm.
he passed away, you know, a year ago, but he passed away.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
passed away. Yeah.
he passed away. He was a good leader. I like him. And then also you got Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. Joe
Mm-hmm.
Biden tells him to shut down his coal mines, right, for $8 billion,
Mm-hmm.
right? South Africa
Mm-hmm.
coal is so abundant. That's why South Africa became industrialized, because it has so much coal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so you shutting down your coal mine for some stupid green technology that's gonna be obsolete in a few years, and you go coal because you want to do some Africa signed these climate change control. They're like, we want to develop. Oh, you can't develop because you might produce a CO2 emission. Africa is not polluting the world.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something about that, folks. Why I got everybody's attention in the chat room, right? Population, climate change, all stuff like that did not start until African and Asian countries started developing. Suddenly they were concerned about the population. Suddenly they're concerned about the climate. Suddenly they're concerned about while Europeans were raping the continents of the world or not. Nobody like. Soon as China and these countries start pollution industries and everything catching up, right? Suddenly they're concerned about climate change and everything, you know. And so Africa, they have a state where they don't want Africa to have any industry, you know, no industrialization. No, so
to put a glitch in the works. That's what they did. They did that to put a glitch in the works for Asia and Africa, you know, because they knew that they were going to start to develop, and China surpassed what they thought there was going to be. You know, they were surprised with China. Japan was already doing their thing, but Japan always had connection with America because of business and manufacturing and stuff. But China just said, boom, we're gonna, and they are sovereign, big time. They don't play with America. They say, y'all not gonna tell us what to do. We don't care.
China basically,
you know what I'm saying?
The Paris Accord, right? And China is still listed as a developing nation, so it can pollute and get so-called pollute and get away with it, right? And you know something? Out of all this, right? Let's say they reduce all this stuff, and I talked to my Liberian brothers. They bought into this stuff, right? And I'm trying to tell them, look, man, because this is what they do. They go into these African countries, right, with money, and they convince Africa, come ahead and talk about climate change. I said, dude, you're signing your own death warrant. They don't want you to have factories. They don't want you to develop everything. I said, they say they go to Liberia and say, look, they have a green carbon credit, right? Green carbon credit. That means don't cut down your trees. Liberia has lush forests. Don't cut down your trees. That sounds good. Don't cut trees. But do you know that tree planting is one of the most underrated things? The Israel planted 600 million trees in the desert. Made the whole desert
olive trees.
Olive trees.
And a lot of them was olive trees. Yeah.
Some were oranges, some were everything, right? With permaculture, right? And they come
with I heard about that.
They could drop them from the plane and or you could just plant them, right? And they grow so fast, and when that 2 years, they're like wood, stick up. You could plant trees. You can say for every one tree you cut down, plant 5 more. But they don't want Africa to develop its own lumber industry and everything like that. They like it. Permaculture. You could divert water from the Congo, right? And pipe it. I have these products for 30 years. I've known about this. Pipe it up to the Sahara Desert and green the Sahara Desert and stop the desert erosion from coming to the Sahara. You know? Libya did it. Gaddafi did it. Gaddafi created aqueducts in the desert. You know? And they had people growing crops in what was once desert. You know? And the bottom line, all the things, all the sciences and everything are there. But they don't want Africa to have science. They want us to be ignorant and backward and stupid. Listen to that climate change nonsense. And all this, right? They said they're going to reduce the global temperature by 1/2 of a degrees. 1/2 a degrees. That's what we're freaking going into poverty for, 1/2 degrees, if that's even true.
It's crazy.
You know, we got to wake the heck up, you know. So they come as climate change.
Yeah.
The enemy now is not going to come as neo-Nazis and everything. They're going to come as social justice warriors. They're going to come as climate change people and human rights and all stuff like that. Which
liberals.
Liberals and all stuff like that. These people can get to you, you know. And basically what they want to do is attack all our strong leaders that want to build something. They want to basically empty jails, let all the criminals run. Look at Chicago. Crime is out of control. No bail, no law and order. Because they know if you have black male and black females are fighting each other, right? Crime all over the place. There's absolute chaos in Black America. You know, that's what they did. They brought the black women in. You're being oppressed by a black man. You need to be independent. All stuff like this. You know, all these are anti-nation building tactics. You know, done by the left wing in America. You know.
Yeah, pushing those narratives. Yep.
Continuously.
Well, brothers, I appreciate it, man. Let me come and speak again. I gotta go back. I'm gonna still listen in, but I gotta go back to do my little duties.
All right, man, make that money, brother.
so they won't come looking for me. I gotta keep getting that money. I'm waiting, like I said before too, man. Still waiting for that tsunami to come in, you know, sitting on that those investments. And so when that time comes, I'll be making my way back to Africa, you know, God willing.
Okay, Africa's gonna be there, bro. And like I said, just stick.
I know.
And we're all together.
It'll be there even after me, after I die.
It's gonna be there, man. You know, we're just doing our part. You know.
Yeah.
Carrying on the legacy.
That's it, brothers. But keep up the good work.
All right, brother.
Yeah,
Peace,
keep up the good work, brothers. Peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. Good to see y'all.
Peace,
all right.
Good, brother. What you call it? Nika Ross says, Kala, I read your book, could not put it down. You're a brilliant writer. I'm looking for I'm working on the movie now. You know, I'm working on it now. You know, I just gotta
break it down.
I'm working on negotiations for the screenplay. Hopefully by the end of the month I'll have it. You know, have the negotiations broken down, stuff like that. You know, I gotta get a lawyer. You know, my sister told me I should get a lawyer and stuff like that. I gotta be prepared, you know. And so yeah, like I said, that journey to the promised land. You know, I got so many books that I've started and everything, never finished everything. I could write novels or anything. I would love to make a novel on the Harlem Renaissance. I like to make some more books about Liberia history, different events of Liberian history. I love to write a book on Kwame Nkrumah. You know who I love to make a book about? Nnamdi Azikiwe. You know, fucking that idiot Mike O says Nnamdi Azikiwe was a CIA plant. Nnamdi Azikiwe was a Nigerian nationalist. He was inspired by Black America and Liberia. You know, he was because he's a Northerner, right? Nnamdi Azikiwe was a friggin' handsome, friggin' strong Black nationalist leader of Nigeria, right? And if he was a CIA agent, why was he overthrown in 1966 in a coup, 65 and 4 years into his presidency? Mike O, you freaking moron, you know? Anybody that's a Pan-Africanist and everything like that, they say, why was he over there? They contradict themselves, you know? And then Nakneezy, so Kala, you shouldn't talk about people I've been studying Nnamdi Azikiwe for 30 years. You know, he was a childhood idol of mine, you know, almost, you know? And so the bottom line is I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about African leaders and stuff. You know, but yeah, like I said, I would like to make a book on it. We need more writers, folks. You know, we need more people writing Journey to the Promised Land, you know? You know, we need more people doing stuff like this. If you want the change, you got to see the change. You know, you got to be like that. I self-published that book. I learned. I was always a writer in college and everything like that. I knew how to write. I knew stories. I read because I read so many books in my life. You know, I'm like a human library. You know, and also people. Let me tell you something, folks. If you really want to educate yourself, right? You know, so what book should I read? Any book. Go to the library. Pick up a novel. Pick up a history book. Pick up a book on classical European music. You'd be surprised, and when you pick up books, the stuff that you come across, right? It's like a roadmap. Oh, I didn't know this, you know? Oh, I didn't know this, right? In my novel, I did that, right? So many people never heard about the Colfax Massacre, right? They said, I never heard of Colfax Massacre. That's why I put it in a novel. So I know because I learned a lot of history just by reading novels, you know? And I say I learned about different events in history, you know? just by reading novels, you know. And so I would go to the library and find out, okay, that's what happened, whatever, like that, you know. Or right now, people can Google. I know I had people like I got my older brother Ron said, I never heard of Colfax Massacre. So I Googled. I said, so you Googled on me, huh? So you Googled. You thought I'm making it up? He said, yeah, Harry, I thought you just made that up. And I Googled the Colfax Massacre. But that's what a writer, a novelist do. He'll put stuff in there because like this. Like, let me give you an example. Like Jaws. Remember when Quint did the Indianapolis speech? The Indianapolis, that incident when you know about the Indianapolis. You're the Navy guy, right? Bomani.
I know about what?
The USS Indianapolis. That got hit by that delivered the Hiroshima bomb. That got hit by the torpedoes.
Yes, I'm familiar with that ship. Yes, there's also a movie about it.
Yeah. Also, remember in Jaws when Quint was doing that thing when he did the Indianapolis speech, the scary speech he did on the ship. He said Japanese torpedoes slammed into our ship. Vessel been down 12 minutes, right? But basically, he's telling a story, right? And after that, because of that book and that movie, everybody went out and learned about the Indianapolis. It was forgotten in history, you know. He said, "You was born in Indianapolis." See, that's what I did with Journey to the Promised Land. I put the Colfax Massacre and the Hamburg Massacre in there. And the characters were both survivors of the Colfax Massacre and the Hamburg Massacres, you know? And basically, I incorporate that into the novel, you know? But that's what I learned that from. I learned that from reading books. And people put stuff in there. I used to read Jackie Collins books when I was a kid. I was 14, right? And I learned about the one book, Chances, right? I learned a lot about the New York Mafia in that book, you know? I learned about real events that happened like during Prohibition and stuff like that in the New York Mafia and the bootleg and stuff like that I didn't know. That's over the years I began studying this stuff, you know, because I read it in novels. My mother used to have these romance novels. I used to read them all the time and stuff like that. I used to read Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. I used to always read. I'm a bookworm, you know. I've always read. So books basically take you to different places at different times and different dimensions and stuff like that, and that's how you spread your mind, you know. And then you have a better scope about where you are, you know. I used to want, because in Liberia, you know, how Liberians were so educated because they had a lot of books on Black America and stuff like that. They knew a lot about us because they had libraries and stuff like that, so they knew about what was going on in Black America through books, you know, stuff like that. They used to read novels and writers from Black America, the Harlem Renaissance, stuff like that. So they had a thing. This is why when I hear people talk about Africans don't know nothing about it, when people say Africans don't know nothing about racism, you mean tell me you guys don't have libraries and books? You know, you don't have books. You didn't read books about what was going on in America. You just come to America. You didn't know it. You just that ignorant. You know, you don't go to a country. If I go to China right now, I can tell you a lot about China because I read the history. I can go to Japan right now and I know certain things. I know certain nuances and stuff like that just by knowing Japanese history, just by reading Japanese history. But Africans go around talking about, oh, I'm coming to America and I never knew about racism and everything like that. But you understand that one time there was in Louisiana, one lady said that this one girl said a Black boy touched her and whatnot, and the whole town came and burned them alive. You know that was real. That happened in this country. So when you come over here talking about, you know, I don't care about my son chasing white girls and stuff like that, you know, do you understand the history in this country? You know? So what are we doing, Bomani? It's getting late, brother. You want to go ahead and wrap up? Anybody else call in?
Anybody else call in?
We had a good show tonight, bro. A lot of people in the chat, you know, better than usual. And like I said, we dropped the fire tonight. I thought, I'm gonna basically give a summary tonight. Tonight we talked about what is a guarantor. You know, what is a guarantor, right? If people want to deal with us and whatnot, if we got people in high places in city governments and everything, I'm looking for Black people to start becoming governors of these states in America. We got to start producing Black governors here, you know, at the high level. You know, it's enough to be mayor, right? I want to see a Black governor in the state of New York, you know, and everything like that. But, you know, guarantor America. Let me tell you something. New York City's GDP is 4 times the size of Nigeria's. You know, that's not bragging. That's just telling the truth. New York City's GDP is twice the whole entire African continent. And what I'm saying this is black people claim that we run New York and stuff like that. Eric Adams jumping up there, buck dancing, talking about this is African city and whatnot, you know? Okay. New York basically wrote the book on tourism, right? New York is a nice city. I like it. You like it. We're from New York, right? But how does New York get $130 billion a year in tourism dollar? That's more than most of the world combined. You know?
That's incredible infrastructure, brother. That's how.
You know, if we can get a couple of African countries to do $1 billion a year, that would make a difference, you know. But goddamn, you know, $130 billion in New York nets from tourism every year. I'm like, shit. New York is just nothing but a big cash register, a bank, you know. Money just fucking just bleeds all over. Excuse my language. Just bleeds all over the place. Banking, finance, media, fashion, you know, restaurants. You know, New York is the capital of the world. You know, and we played a role in building that city. You know, now it's time to cash out. I would like to see New York City. Remember something. New York City is richer than most countries in the world. New York City these states, to tell you the truth, like Virginia. I remember when Governor George Allen was governor of Virginia, right? It's something struck to me years ago, a couple of decades ago. He said Virginia is becoming more international. In other words, these states started out as just states inside the union. But I do believe these states in America are going to start becoming more independent, you know, and doing their own thing. And so I don't know if it's going to be, it might be seen a breakup of the United States because you see Florida is ready to do its own thing because of illegal immigration. You know, some states don't like the guns that flow and stuff like that. You saw that with COVID, you know. So as states become more isolated from each other, right, and they're looking overseas and they're looking for other options and everything, this could be a golden opportunity. Because I know for New York is like really expanding as far as like education and stuff like that, and they want to get into the global market, and they want to get into places like Africa and stuff like that. But on a local level, I can agree with that, you know, because we have local power. I don't trust the federal government in America, you know. The federal government is, you know, I don't know about the federal government, but I do believe that on a local level, we can have some say-so. You know, can you imagine Atlanta got its stuff together and says it wants to invest in sovereign? I know you want to talk about that. Go ahead, Bomani.
Oh no, finish up what you're doing. I'm just moving things around. Trying to get a nice
Yeah, David Patterson came in. I met him. He came in after Pataki. When Pataki, I think it was it Pataki? No, it was another governor. There was another guy, I forgot. It wasn't Pataki. It was another governor that left office and left David Patterson. And he was a good governor and everything like that. You know, it was. I met him back in 2010 at my cousin graduation at Bronx College. You know, I met him there. You know, he was a pretty cool guy. You know, David Patterson, New York, whatever. But I wanted I want to see a Pan-African. People got Pan-African spirit in the governorship in New York. You know, Barack Obama was a complete disaster and disappointment. You know, that was a disaster. Obama. You know, I thought Barack Obama, we're gonna have a Pan-African president. That nigga was a joke, man. You know, I'm like, damn. That's why I'm not really Elliot Spitzer. That's his name, Elliot Spitzer. You know, but Barack Obama was a disappointment. You know, Eric Adams, if he matches his stuff, New York City. If he says New York City is going to be a guarantor to several African states as far as like infrastructure and stuff like that, then I will give credit. But I don't just give credit out to anybody. You know how I am, Bomani, right? I don't give nobody any credit. I don't give nobody no credit. You know, you ain't getting no credit just for getting a speech. Black people, our bar is low too high. Oh, Kala, all those African leaders sitting up there. Eric Adams, I had to tell Dynas about that. Yo, this is a great Dynas, man. Don't get too excited, man. And all people have to do is see Africa. All that it's like, yo, stop with this Africa worship, Africa buck dancing stuff. Stop foot shuffling for. It's called the Pan-African Shuffle. You know, all you have to do is mention Africa and jollof rice, and niggas get excited and whatnot. You know, Africa,
Wow.
Africa. I'm looking at specifics, right? Where is your sovereign wealth fund, Mr. Mr. Adams? You know, you're the mayor of New York City, right? You got tremendous reach around the globe. You know, how much of that wealth in New York generates, that expertise, everything you have, you know, is going towards specific African states. Don't deal with different African states as individuals, not as a monolith, you know? So, what about airports? Okay, we got airports that fly from New York to. How many direct flights go from New York to Africa? You know, just one.
Oh no, it's you do have a few directly from New York.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than just a few. I wouldn't be able to even. Let me see. There's all right. Number one, there's on the Delta side, JFK directly to Senegal.
Yeah.
JFK
Senegal's
directly
a
to
country.
Accra, Ghana.
JFK
Then you
is
have a
Accra.
direct from JFK to Lagos,
Okay.
and you also have a New York flight on one state to another airline from New York to South Africa. But my point is, it's a few different direct flights, and then also you have Royal Air Maroc direct flight from here to Casablanca. I mean, it's a heavy hub. I mean, it's
It's getting there.
busy place, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, small, small land, incredible infrastructure, support a whole incredible amount of people. So you got it right, Kala. That's what we got to get focused on: building Black African infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Yeah, I want to hear. I want to talk praise to the infrastructure God.
I mean, getting right to the point of it. That way you can make movements and you can create economic flow.
Yeah. Without infrastructure, we're not doing anything. You know, we got to get. We're living under white American infrastructure, white Euro infrastructure. We need Black African infrastructure. You know,
people.
And Mauro said, different topic. Would you love to hear discussion? Haiti and South Africa have special mineral, and we have Black. Of course not. You know, if anything's worth, if shit was worth something, right? Black people wouldn't have access to it. You know, Eddie Murphy said, hey, if shit was worth something, Negroes, they have you in a stall when they're taking it out of your ass or whatnot. You know, you would have nothing to it. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. We need, like I said, we basically the Black people in New York, and also if everybody could just start this right now. Raphael Warnock, he's a key vote in the U.S. Senate. We got to start a petition: end the sanctions on Zimbabwe. You know, end the sanctions. If we have to go out there and pick it in front of his office, we have to do this. Let this Negro know that you got elected, right? You know, not to freaking serve like that, to serve justice. The sanctions on Zimbabwe is injustice, you know. But why am I the only one saying this? Where are all the other big mouths on social media? I know I'm taking shots tonight, right? You know, but the bottom line is this: all these people that got these big platforms and everything, no one's ever thought about that. Sanctions on Zimbabwe. What's that got to do? Yeah, sanctions on Zimbabwe. It's illegal. You know, it's illegal. It's racist. You know, and Obama extended them. Those sanctions on Zimbabwe are racist. The United States are backing up a racist regime. All these people want to do it. If some foreign country had whole swaths of land in America, do you think white people would stand for that? No. But the only people that you can come in, the Queen of England owns all these oil fields in Nigeria. They own these mines in South Africa. They own these farms in Zimbabwe and everything. And it's justified, you know? Africa needs to be redeemed. If you're not talking about redeeming Africa, you're not talking anything about me. So I don't worry about no U.S. Africa summit, you know, with the same old. No, not one person mentioned at the summit, right? Because they didn't want to get their free meal. They didn't want to leave for a free meal. Mentions, what about Mr. Biden? What about the sanctions on Zimbabwe? Nah, get out of here, niggas. You know, get out of here. You know, we don't stand in solidarity. They don't stand in solidarity. So we're putting it out there. The sanctions on Zimbabwe needs to be lifted. That's my position. You know, those who want to join with us on that, hey, look, start the chorus. When you do your next show, start talking about that. You know, start the same way you started this groundswell about this something called reparations and people actually taking you seriously. This is something that we can actually accomplish. You know, this is something that we can actually get done. And say, well, what do we get? Like, because when you lift those sanctions in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe will be a gold mine for investment. Zimbabwe got
absolutely.
You know, you got minerals and lush farmland and everything like that. Beautiful country. You know, that's one of the things, one of the states that we could be part of the Afrikstan. You know, Afrikstan just means wherever we build communities in Africa for the diaspora. That's the Afrikstan. You know, where we stand on the continent is the Afrikstan. You know, not where we kneel, not where we grovel, not where we beg, not where we're weak, where we stand. You know, yeah. So, like I said, Zimbabwe, we need to get that support. You know, well, I have no idea why we got somebody. It's just because a couple, like 10 years ago, we really had a lot of real Pan-Africans in the movement. You know, a lot of people just, they're not on social media. Remember back in the days, we had some radical brothers out there, you know?
Oh, yes, whole different world now. You have internet
Dr.
gangsters
Africa?
and internet Pan-Africanists.
Yeah, remember Dr. Africa and people like that? We had some radical people out there, man. Remember Irritated Genie and all these other people, you know? What happened to these Pan-Africanists, you know? What happened to these brothers, man? We had Irritated Genie. We had, what's that dude? What's his name? Light-skinned brother with the afro, Barashango. Remember him?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, we had people like that in the Pan-African movement, man. Now we got all these goofballs in the Pan-African movement. We're not saying nothing. Now, if you want to make it right with us in the Pan-African world, start talking about stuff that really matters. You know, every Pan-African will be on page. Those sanctions against Zimbabwe must be lifted. Everybody should be on the page like that. You know, and what they do is they will sell out for a reparations check. You know, and that you're never going to get. Well, I want to get something, you know. I love my brother Phil Stock, but he got to stop that shit. But we gonna get one. This ain't a fucking grab bag, Negro. This ain't a freaking Halloween candy bag. You know, we vote and we start on principle. Black people always like, what they gonna get, you know? This ain't a grab bag. This ain't a freaking buffet. You know, we talk on principle. We have a principle. We have a position. Those sanctions need to be freaking lifted. That's a position. They ain't asking what I can get out of it. Maybe something to come out of it. But we got to be principled. Negroes aren't principled anymore. We used to have Pan-African that were principled back in the days. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be joining you also in Liberia. That trip in Liberia is gonna be so lit, man. That shit is gonna be so fucking lit, man. That Liberian trip. You definitely want to be on that trip with us, bro. That shit is gonna be so freaking lit. I promise you're gonna have the time of your life, bro. Sister, you know, that's gonna be the litest tour we ever did. That's gonna be the blackest tour we ever did. That's gonna be a Pan-African tour, unapologetically a Pan-African tour. You know, next year in Liberia. You know, see, I knew, but once people read that book in Liberia, my novel, they're hooked. You know, they're hooked, man. Well, oh man, Liberia is a country, man. That's what all this stuff we talk about, this Pan-African stuff, is going to be in Liberia. We're going to turn Liberia into a real Pan-African state to be our voice throughout the whole diaspora in the world. You know, all these other countries, they got other obligations and everything like that. Liberia is a country that's going to have its mission is going to be Pan-Africanism. You know, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're going to do. You know, so. Do you want to say something about the tours, man, brother? Oh, you're muted, Bomani.
Yes. As usual, just letting anyone know you're interested in any of our tours. Just text or email me your information, and that's why I got this nice little scroll going on down. But back to a full page of information. Once you're on the website, family, what I want to show you this past some of this text is right here. Bam, Kala, can you see that right there? 16 years.
Yeah, I see it, brother.
Strong reconnection energy, family. And these are some of our group. These are all of the groups right here. From the last two, December 2022, November 2022. And scrolling down. So these are not just group, these are just work of just organizing, putting people together over the years and connecting them on an incredible journey and an incredible experience. So always want, family, it's one of those things, just want them to go on a website. Sometimes, Brother Kala, just information itself, whether just newsletters or just details.
Right.
We got to encourage our people to look at information, especially when they're putting investment and money down. And I'm telling people it's more than just, you're taking a journey. You're doing business. So make sure that you're clear on information. That way, you're good. You're good to go. But these are just multitude of the tours that we have assembled. So, got lots of future, lots of future schedules. So beyond the country people have seen, like right now, the newest schedule I got is Rwanda, and then I got this incredible mindful Senegal and the Gambia journey that we're going on next. So Kala, as you see, look at all these group size. This is the biggest group size right here. This is 43 of us right here.
Yeah, like I said, bro, man, you've been doing it, brother. You've been doing it, brother.
This one here is in Brazil.
You've been doing it, brother.
Over in Ethiopia.
People always look like they're having fun. People always look like they're having fun. And beautiful black people going to
spending a whole lot of black dollars and putting black dollars in black hands. So you just going beyond this tourism and it's nation building, connecting, and you're also educating yourself through a business and investment conference and networking. So when you're ready to make a move, you can make a move and be successful. And that's what we've been talking about as far as this topic. And that's the situation.
That's why I don't respect nobody. If you look at Brother Bomani is put into this work, and I'm basically a student of him as far as like really actually doing it. I'm learning from them and stuff like that, And if you talk about Pan-Africanism on any level, if you haven't called this brother right here, I don't want to hear what you guys say. That's my litmus test. If you have anybody on a high level, Eric Adams, that really want to do something, the person to call is Bomani Tyehimba. If you call Bomani Tyehimba and say, look, man, we want to really build this in, that tells me you're serious. Because we're about black dollars in black hands, and that's the way Pan-Africanism should be. It's not basically like, these people going over to countries and they're spending money in white hotels and all stuff like this, That's not what we're doing. We're talking about Africa for the Africans and everything like that. If somebody else want to get a couple of crumbs off our table, that's fine. But this is the main thing: is Africa for the Africans. Black people enjoying themselves. Black people fellowshipping. Right now, they had this thing where did you hear about that thing with the black female train thing, Bomani?
The black female what?
The black female train.
No.
Okay. It's a big thing going on TikTok right now. It's the biggest controversy right now. It's called a black woman train. I say, if you haven't seen a black woman, right now, TikTok influencers, you got plain Jane looking white girls make a lot of money on TikTok and everything, doing the same dances and everything black girls do, right? Because the algorithms don't touch black people. So they are this black girl train, right? Where if you have another black woman share a thing, if you follow black women. So black women create this massive chain of black women. Now, white women, look it up on TikTok. White women are coming after them, talking about it's racist. They're going crazy. These white women talk about, what if I turn a white woman? Nobody gives a damn. They're attacking these sisters, and the brothers we got their back. He said, sisters want to create their own chain just for black women. I got your back, I understand our sisters need to be bonding with each other. They going through stuff. I support my black women, Yeah, my sister's head of our agency, man. I love her to death, man. I wouldn't be nothing without my sister, you know. And we got so many sisters in our sheriff agency. These black women be doing their thing, brother Bomani. You know, I'm all for the sisters. Don't let anybody tell you Kala doesn't love his sisters. I love my sisters, man. Do your thing, sisters. Make that money. And I understand black women need to be together. But now these white women, now it's saying, what it is these white women are these white liberal women, right? They're gonna need black women out there voting against Trump and everything like that, you know. And black women are starting to break away from these white liberal feminist women, you know. And like, oh, we're all women. And that's it. Everybody's like, why is it always gotta be about y'all? Okay, that's fine, but this is a space. This is a time for us to get together, you know. And everything's just happening beautifully, brother. I'm just sitting back like loving this because I said, this is what I'm saying. These white women are using you, talking about they're your allies. You know, they were using y'all. You know, they were using y'all to get out there and vote, you know. And the bottom line, they know that election's coming up in 2024, you know. So they basically, it's like this. So these sisters like, yo, look it up, Bomani, the black woman train, black sister train. Yo, it's a big controversy. And TikTok is trying to shut it down. But because they're doing that, right, black women are getting pushed in the algorithm. And you got influencers that sell their products. TikTok is a lot of money. You know, influencers. But they said most of the influencers that sign people up stuff are white. They don't even want to deal with black people, you know? If you got like 100,000 followers on TikTok where influence people come to you, sell their products on TikTok, you know? And a lot of times black women don't get that stuff because, you know, they don't have the following and stuff like that. So the black women follow thing was building everybody's follow list up, you know? Up and everything. And it's working. Black women are promoting products, their brides and brings brands to other black women and stuff like that. It's working. Black business. You know what I'm saying? That's what we talk about. You know? But the black women are mad, bro.
It's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. So, family, that is it, family. Moving to Africa, unprepared, given the African diaspora a bad image. And yes, it is. So, the Afrikstan Analysis is to work on your research, and connect with
like-minded people.
Connect with people with strong networks like ourselves who know how to make moves in certain countries and make sure you're good. You know?
And also, let me say something, folks.
There's no time for amateur operation.
Let me tell you something, folks. If you're doing everything the right way, that's what I said, we have to have ethics, right? And we have to hold ourselves to a higher, like me, we'll hold ourselves to a higher standard, right? And we do, when you do things ethically in the right way and you seek counsel and you're transparent, right? You go to Bomani, you go to college, what do you think about this, right? And I'll tell you, like I tell brothers, they ask me like this, well, I want to bring $100,000. I said, look, first of all, what you want to do is you want to get yourself an investment portfolio, right? And get a line of credit or get some assets and then get a line of credit for $100,000, right? That you could borrow against that, right? And build your credit up. Don't bring cash, because that cash will go in a minute. And so I just tell people all the time, I said, so when you go to the African continent and everything like that, when you want to invest in, do you have buyers lined up? And I had to, like I was talking to Mufasa the other night, right? And we was asking him, say, well, have we ever known anybody that really, really caked off in Africa? He said, no, we got a lot of people investing. But, people invest because we love Africa and we want to invest, right? But at some point in time, we have to start really making this profitable and making money, It's about making money. We can do both of it. We can invest in Africa, help build Africa, and our businesses need to make money because that's the ultimate testament of any business, right? And that you made money. We made a lot of money. We cleared a lot of money. We did all the right things, back businesses. People had a good time. We had good services, and we made a good profit. And then when you do that, right, and by doing all the things right, then the business and everything will grow. And then you can seek counsel and work together. And we have to work together. We got to stop competing with each other. Look, there must be 20 independent projects in Ghana right now. People are trying to build their own community. I mean, what is it, man? Everybody, we gotta build a community. It's what they do, First of all, when you talk building a community, right? You know what a community, it means communal. Do you have a collective a lottery, a pot? The Indians, when they come to a country, they have a lottery that they put in, and they help each other out. We call them susus, right? We have gifting program, gifting. You know, we gift out and everything with money's exchange and everything, where we basically people can go and they get money paid out and stuff like that, and they help each other. Also, labor pools. You know, volunteer work. Okay, if people are working together on that level and everything, and that's a community. Community means commune. Community don't mean, oh damn, that nigga's messed up, man. He's on his own. That's not a community. You know, we like I said, we gotta start practicing what we preach. When you talk about building a community, that means okay, I'm gonna be part of this Chicago community, right? You know, and we're community, we're fellowshipping. You know, we have
That's it right there, fellowshipping and bringing it home together.
Work. You know, you have to be accountable. You know, your peers, your people. You know, you have to be judged. You have to be punished. You know, you have to have some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? You know, some sort of what I'm saying. You have to defer to something. You know, and I think a lot of times people that I hate to say this, right? The topic, right? A lot of times people want to go to Africa because they don't want to follow any rules. You know, and that's what it is. They want to follow any rules. When they come over there and they understand that the community we're trying to build, there's going to be rules. There's going to be regulations. You know,
absolutely, and that's the only way we're going to build these things. You know, we have to have order, and you
have to have order.
Structure. So that's what we're talking about, family. For those that's looking to just join a real community operation where you can put your work into where we can go together strong, you know, that's it right there. And the same thing with Africa Tours. You know, somebody called me today and they was asking me about citizenship, you know, and things like that. And I was just, you know, I was explaining to them all the things that we do on these different tours, but that's never the focus. And you know, we've been there where, you know, we have those citizenship conference and things like that. But as far as the program, that's not your initial connection into the country. And you know, it's you know, it's one of those things where, you know, like you broke it down a while back, brother. It's it has to be more than that. It has to be more of an interest, a dedication, you know, to build, to grow in to grow to different countries, and you know, you have to work towards these things. It's, you know, so we tell people we have a few different ways to help them get that, but you know, it's not that situation. It's more of that. And then from your in there, brother, and then, you know, you enjoy that experience. The next thing we think about is business, especially getting into building industries like we talk about.
When we're ready to get to a level when we're building businesses and we're in there long term, and we got a stock portfolio on the exchanges and stuff like that, we're making millions of dollars, and then we go to the point where we don't need to come back to the United States. That's when you start talking about citizenship, you know, because the people will see that you're there on the long term. But what I'm seeing now is like people just like vanity. Well, I got citizenship, and they go back to America and not doing anything with it. You know, they go back to the United States and not doing anything with it, or they're not building anything, they're not bringing investment. Or one thing you can do is go as an
what is it, like a trophy? Is it like a trophy or something like that? Do you go collect?
Yeah, collect a control. I got 5 passports and whatnot. You know, it's like, you know, you're cheapening to the passport of that country. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that these things aren't good, family. I'm just some people that's not really our focus. And are we working towards certain things? Yes, organically. And then, you know, but it's these are things that you know, these are things that we want people to understand. If you do go that route, make sure you put the work into that country.
Right.
If you get the free land in a country, you know, make sure you put that work into doing something for the community, doing something for that area.
Yeah.
But, you know, so, but yeah, it's one of those things you're trying to get folks to this, opening their minds up to this, like, you know, get into some really this development and some building, and organize the finance that need to, you know, get these projects going.
Yeah,
all right.
Also
Jughead, yes.
I was wondering. I was thinking about Jughead the other day. I was thinking about Jughead the other day. I was like, where the hell's Jughead been, man? You know.
Yes, need there's lots of accountability and building strong integrity. We just have to just make sure we just keep away from the bloodsuckers and the bad energy of folks, because all it takes is one or two of them just puts energy out there
Make us
suck
all
your
look bad.
energy down.
And our enemies, so it's like, oh, see, that's what they're all about. Look what happened and whatnot. We got, dude, this is serious here. You go to the continent, you act right, and you're representing us whether you like it or not. I hate that. People are like, oh, I'm African. I'm African American. No, you're African American, right? And we go over there acting a fool and whatnot. It reflects on us no matter what you call yourself. Well, I'm in such and such tribe. No, you doing the same nigga shit. You was in America. Now you're in Africa messing up and whatnot, and that we get to hold the L for that shit. And that's what we're talking about.
Yes, that's family. So it's one of them things, man. I tell people, those of us out here that are making moves, are working and things like that. So a lot of times people like myself have not much to say, because it's all about making those kind of moves and putting time into really just building your connections around the continent to where we can just build like global Black business pipeline, like directly to the point. And so yeah, and Kala, you spoke about Liberia. We're getting ready for Liberia Journey Family for that beautiful March 2024. And one of those things you mentioned that we're going to be pushing a real repatriation connection. So the energy of all these things is just to just keep spreading it and just building a strong network where we can just look out for our people who are ready to make a repatriation move. So I'm also telling people that even on our website, you can there's repatriation consultation. There's many things available to connect you into the world where you can literally just get connected to real people who are going to look out for you, make sure you're good. So it's one of those things where limit your failures in making these moves by just getting with people who have a serious experience, because this is no time for amateur hour. Introducing our brother Jug Ed. Welcome on 2023.
2033, Jughead, BAIO in the house. Jughead.
Yes, and we're about to shut down also, so I do apologize, Jughead, or anybody else that want to tune in. It's been a long night and long night. So yes, family.
Jughead, want to say something before we jump off?
So that's it, family, right there on the website. I'm one of them people that have all of our documented information online. And information also can be sent via email and via text, all of the technology of sharing information. And that's why we build these, modern day operation, to where you can see videos and photos and get highlights, video conference, group pages. And that's my world of Africa tourism investment, Africa for the Africans, tours across all the different countries, and then Black Star Pan-African community as our community investment, because we must put our economic dollars together to create a flow of where we can actually have Black ownership, where you literally just building an incredible future for your children and future generation, where we have some level of Black ownership, especially on a base where you can just have your own ecosystem, completely independent. So, and that's the purpose of getting land, like you mentioned, brother, to me earlier. You have all these people who getting land, but it's like, what are you going to do with the land? Are you going to really build Black African infrastructure? You're going to really build a community, build business, build business industries, or are you just going to play around with it? Because it's a serious business. No time for amateur hour. Jughead trying to get in. Drop one in, Jughead, before we close out. What's going on in the chat?
Somebody named Mustard Seeds. I don't know what the hell.
Who's mustard seeds and the shape of things to come? These folks, it's so wild how people just get aggravated with text, like, you know what I mean? They're mashing on their keyboard. Keep the love, 2023. Keep the love. Building a strong Pan-African nation. So yes, Kala, it's always good, man. Thank you for always joining and breaking it down.
So hopefully Saturday night we'll have
without
Mr.
nobody
Rowe.
cutting you off and doing all kind of things.
Well, I love it. I love when I can be able to speak and say and drop
teach,
knowledge.
Brother, teach.
And not have freaking people cutting me off and freaking saying what they want to say, blowing a bunch of hot air, you know, whatnot, you know, and it's just such a peaceful thing on this platform. You know, I love the respect I get, you know, and stuff like that, you know, deserve the respect I get.
There you go, brother. That's how we do it. That's how we do it, family. So, family, as you can see, all my information is down at the bottom as usual. And, you know, we run a real business operation here, so we always here working. So always looking forward to talking with you and going through information and then traveling with you, moving around, doing business and networking. So we're going to keep building family, keep on keeping things strong. So happy 2023. We can't, you know, we're back stronger than ever, stronger with a vengeance.
Yeah, we're back stronger with a vengeance, you know. It's like I said, this is a Pan-African Central right here. You know, everything we talked about tonight, I hit all key points of the continent. Talked about the Africa Summit. I talked about Zimbabwe. I talked about, you know, we talked about a lot of stuff tonight, you know, as far as I was clear about Dr. Arikana, you know. This is where people should come to. We can't rely on people who don't have our experience to speak for us, right? You know, when we go to the African Union, we should have our own African Union delegation spitting out that this is what we want. You know, if it doesn't come from the BAIO or Africa for Africans, please, you know. And I have no problem with somebody else, but just run it by Bomani and myself. And so basically you get an okay, you know, because a lot of times people get, they don't know what they like. A lot of people went for this Africa for Africa U.S. Summit. Oh, Kala, and like this. And I said, no, I can't approve of that, you know, because all the stuff that we talk about, it didn't fit our value system. Our value system is Africa for Africans, building Black African infrastructure. I hear nothing about that at that U.S. Africa Summit, so I can't approve of it. Now, if you want to do it.
Our greetings, family. Welcome to the call.
Hey, I am curious what your stance is about Dr. Arikana, because I have a lot of information on her, and she's not what you guys are depicting her as, or many other people I've heard on different platforms speak about her so honorable. I'm just curious if you guys know why she was fired.
Go ahead and share away.
She was fired for fraud as an ambassador. I got the paperwork about it. So it's very odd to me that you guys big up a lot of people. You guys never really do any research. You guys never really follow to see what has happened or double check, test, and see. But yet you guys propel these people that are like a Lou Major, like an Akon, that are out here predatory. And they're out here with other agendas that they're not letting you be aware of. But I have done research on Dr. Arikana about a year and a half now. And I just find it odd that you guys, whatever someone sounds apart, just because they sound good, does not mean they have good intent at the same time. But you guys don't know that because you don't do the research, and then
I do that. I've been talking about.
And people get scammed, and then $500,000 later, like a Lou Major, no one says nothing about the scams that keep happening, and you wonder why. Because we keep allowing these types of people to keep talking to us any kind of way, sounding good.
We
never verify these people, and they keep scamming us. She's the next in line to scam again. She wants an ecosystem. She wants to do cryptocurrency. She's linked up with a $500 million bond that she borrowed from an unnamed lender that she did a quick video about 2 years ago. Took that video down because she didn't want to name the lender. And I believe that lender is Akon, because Akon borrowed $1 billion from China for that stupid Akon city that he's never built, that he wanted to build off of Acoin cryptocurrency so that he can rob us blind. But again, Pan-Africanism just wants to live in this la-la land, but y'all don't bet none of these punks that scam us, and y'all are lining us up for these predatory types that are continually in wait of us, and it's sad. I'm really disappointed that you guys don't research these people. I am for Black Righteous Folks Home, Kala. You know who I am. Again, I have called out Lou Major before he scammed. I've called out Dr. Ericana before I even knew she was a fraud. But I went to the law library and researched her and found out why she really was fired, which because she was taking monies from the African Union in the guise of these so-called diaspora groups that she made up as an ambassador, without telling the people there in the African Union that she was doing this. And she garnered like almost $500,000 with all these things that she built up a bank and made up her own little entity within the African Union, and she was whistleblowed. That's why she was fired. So now she has this ADDI database. She's been running around with it for 2 years, asking for everyone's personal information, where you work, your number, your information, address, all these things, tying them up with a $500 million bond that she borrowed from an unknown lender, I think is Akon, but from China. That's what I know. But why don't y'all know? Why don't y'all ever know nothing?
I basically call that Wakanda City thinks you that fraud. I'm on record saying that. And
yes, that's a fraud. That's another way of her accessing emotionalism through the stupid ass movie. And it's so easy to get us all wound up over fantasies. And I'm so sick of the stupidity of how we get played. And she's not our friend, just like Akon's not our friend. And the reason why Akon's been talking hella greasy about us is because we're not biting on all the things he's been trying to sell us, and he's pissed. So the only way that he can get our attention is to insult us. So that's why that's why he's doing what he's doing. You know, because we're not biting with the Akon City. We're not contributing to his cryptocurrency. And he feels some kind of way because he thought he was Akon, the megastar. We don't like him like that. He's not even talented. We don't care about an Akon. But yet he thinks and he thought he had pull. And when he realized he really didn't, it bruised his ego. And that's why he's been insulting us, because we're not on board to be scammed by him and by Dr. Ericana. But meanwhile, he still owes that $1 billion loan to China, and that's why they're steadily trying to get us round up with this now Zambia or Zimbabwe, where Dr. Ericana's from. Now she's trying to link us up, talking about we need to move there. We don't want to live in a desolate area of Zimbabwe. What the fuck?
But the BAIO is the only repatriation in Africa of African Bomani. We're the only ones that they stole the idea from us. Dr. Arikana met with Mr. Rosenthal. She stole the idea for us to build an Afrikstan city-state, and she started calling Wakanda and everything. But the bottom line is, this movement is going to be led by us in the diaspora.
But that's just the thing, Kala. I don't care about moving to Africa. I don't care about visiting Africa. Let me just finish. There's millions of us like me, and even though you have this passion, you have this vigor, you're not given the benefit of the doubt of people like me that are truly out here that's telling you that we don't care about Africa, because Africa doesn't care about their own people and their own situation. Before things will get better in Africa, there has to be civil unrest. There will have to be more genocide. You see what happened with Rwanda? It took 800,000 people to lose their life in 1994 for now to be the cleanest city today. So these types of things, Ethiopia has a genocide that just happened, and Sudan's going through some situations. Somalia's going through some situations. Eventually, Nigeria's about to kick up before that election, I bet you. Someone's going to go over there. But y'all still selling this paradise to us, which is going to, given the opportunity, we'll be those types of people that's going to be affected by whatever happens if we're there. And I just think it's very fucked up that we're being defeated here in America. We're becoming homeless here, and you guys are selling us Africa, but there's no guarantee to Africa having a positive outcome.
That's what, sister, that's what we're working on. We're
But you
saying,
can't guarantee nothing, Kala. You can't control all the other factions and all the other tribalisms and all the other Islamophobic tendencies and all that. Did you hear about the two sisters that lost their life in Ghana in 2015? Building their house there and getting murdered because they had a dispute over land.
But that's
and
what
they got mobbed, murdered, and they were 70-something years old.
Yeah, well,
and these two sisters lived their life with the Pan-African mindset as you since the 70s. They were from Detroit, Michigan, and they moved to Ghana and lost both their lives. They got dragged out their house and murdered. But you guys don't talk about this stuff. You don't talk about the scamming that happens. You guys big up anyone that sounds good. And y'all don't like me because I don't sugarcoat nothing. I just do the research and I study up on what people are saying, and I understand that tribalism is not going to go nowhere. And I understand that religion is not going to go nowhere. And all this fluffiness that we're bringing our mindset, thinking that somehow is going to change the mindset of those people that can't see us as their situation and their people. And it's, you guys are trying to force something that's never gonna really mesh well.
We're not forcing anybody, you know.
Well, what I'm saying is, you keep on saying that we're gonna do this, and you're assuming that everybody's on board with your plan. There's only a certain amount of number of people that you're ever gonna convince that they can leave America and trust Africa.
You have to let me respond to you. You know, we're gonna talk, have a dialogue. You gotta let me talk.
Okay. Well, I said enough. I'll listen.
Okay. Now, we never said that Africa is a paradise. We never candy coat anything. We never like that. We're saying that we do have some things on the African continent that's going good and everything, and we want to build on that, right? Because we don't want to be basically pigeonholed to just the United States. Black America is too strong, too powerful to just be pigeonholed to everything. Now, let me give you an example, right? Chinese have Chinatowns all over the globe, right? They're not pigeonholed to San Francisco. They got New York. They got Chinatowns in Japan. They got Chinatowns in Korea. They got global trade, right? So they can do what they want to do, right? Black America, right? We generate $1.8 trillion.
Could I just put something in real quick? Do you know how China became a powerhouse with forced labor of the Uyghurs that they still are doing to this day? Do you guys talk about that kind of stuff, or you just pass by that part?
Let me tell you something. Show me anywhere in the world where you don't have real rich and real poor, but they're still in their culture. That same waiter.
Do you think that we should risk being forced labored or slavery again?
And also, we have a new person who just entered the call. Michelle, welcome to the call. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Or good morning.
Good morning, greetings, family.
Yeah. So I'm going to stand back so the dialogue can continue. Then I'll join in real quick once a moment, because this is getting good.
What I was saying is that everywhere in the world you're gonna have rich, poor, and you have upper woman building, right? That same Mexican and Chinese is working with slave wages a couple of years. Next thing you know, they open their own business, vendor cart, whatever, send their kids to college, and the next generation is doing better, right? Same deal with the Chinese. Nobody's guaranteeing anything that's going to be a peachy king, you know? We have black people that's moving to different parts of Africa. They're building a life for themselves and everything. It's not for everybody. It's not for the most black people. We're only talking about at the most 3 or 4% of the black population. And we only want key black people that can basically build stuff, because ultimately, what we want to do is we want to basically open Black America up to global trade. And the easiest place to do that is with the African continent, right? Because we can't get into Asia like that, right? Africa imports a lot of stuff, billions of dollars worth of stuff, but it doesn't come from Black America, right? Black America consumes a lot of stuff, but it doesn't come from Africa. Wouldn't it make sense that basically if Black America and Africa are trading and building relationships and everything, we have abandoned steel mills in Gary, Indiana, Newark, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, and everything. Africa is importing steel from China. Couldn't we rehab those steel mills and become a player in the steel industry? We could put people to work and everything. Those same communities, we could go like, when they come to life again, if we start exporting steel and prefabricating steel and getting into industries and everything, cooperating on that level, where we got people, educated people doing stuff like that. It's just business. It's just common sense, you know.
It sounds great. It sounds good, but
It
again,
sounds
you
good,
don't
but
know
that's
the
what
other
we want.
intentions
That's
of
what we
other
want to do.
leaders. You don't.
It has
The
nothing
people
to
are
do.
in the back
Nothing.
pockets of many of these colonizers. They're in the brotherhood of that. These people are not going to change their mentality. These
Well,
people
the
are still
bottom
going
line
to
is, the bottom line is,
still
you have
stay
the BAO.
tribalistic as they have been. And for
Well,
you to just tell us to just put all this faith
I never
and
said
trust
that. I never
in
told any
people that
black
have
person
never
that.
earned our
Bomani, have
trust
I ever
and
told any
respect
black
is
person?
very, very weird to
Did I ever
me.
tell any? Did
And
I
the
ever tell
fact that you don't know about Dr. Eric Kana and her past and
I
everything
know
like
all
that
about
and
the
other
character.
things like
We
that,
sing it to the
it's
choir.
very alarming because you parrot these things
Bomani,
as if you know
what was
for
I saying?
certain
What was I saying?
you don't.
See, she's gonna cut me off. What was I saying about Dr. Arcana before she got on like an hour ago?
Well, I'm just saying you kind of said it, but I didn't hear you go after her actually.
Well,
I
I don't
mean,
have to go
unless
after her.
I
I just
missed
stated
that
my
segment,
position
I
because
didn't hear you say
I
anything
know
negative about her until I brought her up.
I don't know what her heart is. You know, I don't think she's a malicious person. I think she's wrong on a lot
You
of
can
stuff.
sound
Right?
good and still be a rat and a
I don't
salesman
know
that's
that. I
full of
don't know.
shit.
I don't.
You can still
Hold up.
say
I'm gonna
good
give her.
things about
Look.
the truth
I
of
don't agree.
Africa and
Like I
still
said, I
be
don't
working
agree.
behind the scenes with
I
colonizers
don't
to
agree with
enslave
her
people.
approach. I don't agree
I
with her
mean, you give
process.
too much credit without people proving anything.
But the
That's my
bottom line,
point.
bottom line is this: I don't know her heart, right? All I'd say is I didn't agree with her approach and what she's doing and stuff like that, her politics, right? But I'm not going to disparage her character like that, you know, because I don't know, I don't have the proof.
So we
You know?
all gonna get lined up for more scams. In other words,
But I'm
just
not.
like Lou Major. You
I
know,
told
before Lou Major scammed $500,000, I
look,
called him out 4 months prior to that.
Secretary
No
John.
one listened.
I told
No one
anybody,
heard. But
I'm on record
$500,000 was
saying I
taken
don't
from
support.
Hey,
I don't
Kala,
those
you know, can't
people.
talk at the same time. To Kala, let her finish. Explain, break it down about Lou Major because you mentioned it
Lou
before
Major
time.
went to
Hold on, one
Dynasty.
second. You mentioned
He used Dynasty as a way to utilize that platform to browbeat Black Americans every chance he got. And he kept on, just browbeating and just disparaging and talking really reckless about what we weren't doing in America and how we needed to get on board with an African plan. And so eventually, after all that talk for months, people started listening, and I was like, "Why are y'all listening to this wicked dude? This man is obviously looking to scam."
Hold up.
And that's exactly what he did. He set people up with a made up bank. He set people up with land that he didn't even sell to them. He claimed he lived in Ghana. He lived in Colombia. He ran off into the sunset with a few friends $500,000 later. And instead of Dynasty addressing what Lou Major did, using his platform, he just disconnected access and conversation and put a post mentioning, "I don't have nothing to say about Lou Major. We're severing ties," something to that effect. Nothing. He didn't explain it, and then all of a sudden, people start milling around about how much money they lost, and then eventually it came out what Lou Major did. But my point is, no one betted Lou Major. He was able to run freely, talk crazy, bash people, convince people, and get their money clear and free, and ran off into the sunset. And you guys never went to correct that. Dynasty shut it down, no accountability. And anyone that can go to his platform yet again and line us up again, because no one has ever learned from the first example of what was already shown. And I'm like, what? It's ridiculous because Dynasty wants to keep his page still with people traveling, so he don't want nothing negative. But you brought that guy to the platform for months to bash us for $500,000, and no one's ever mentioned and uttered a word about that one time, not once, other than the leaking of other people talking about their money being taken. Then it came out. But that's what I'm talking about. Why we always got to be too late? Why we always got to be scammed? Why we got to be everybody's fool? I'm so frustrated with the mindset that everybody's assuming because they're black skinned and they're talking nice that they really love and care about our situation. And they don't. That's my point.
May I ask a question, please?
Yeah,
again, good morning, everyone. Part of the reason why I'm on this platform, out of respect to the platform, what is your opinion, sister, on the situation with Tariq Nasheed and the Hidden History Museum? I contributed.
I don't
I
know. I've never.
contributed.
I have not. I don't believe in Tariq Nasheed. I think he's a pimp. I believe that we should self-identify though, because we have never. I feel like the government kept changing our names, and now everyone is not knowing who we are because we're a mesh of everybody coming over here pretending to be us, and so we don't have pride within ourselves, which is a problem. So the idea of a name was necessary, but not the right leader and not the right intention. He's just basically living his lifestyle off of the hustle of emotionalism with this lineage talk. And we should have did this 10 years ago, but we didn't see what we're seeing now. It's just unfortunate that Tariq is using emotionalism against us, and a lot of people are being played. And I pointed that out. I pointed out about Umar Johnson. I pointed out about them all. They don't have good intentions, and it's just sad that we're just set up by anybody to come along, say a few good words and a couple of chuckles here and there, a couple of good facts here and there, and then you can get scammed just that easy. We're just like the sheep. We're waiting for another person to line us up for another scam. That's all I see. I don't see nobody really legit and about what the outcome will be for us. Everybody's just telling us to invest, which is give up your money towards somebody else to see what happens, and we're bankrupting ourselves. Meanwhile, we're becoming homeless. Meanwhile, we're not getting paid by our government. Everybody else, though, that's coming over here is. And so we're being squeezed out of our own civil rights struggles and fights and everything, and everybody's benefiting off of our fights and deaths and sacrifice. And it's like now they wanted to use the same principle towards Africa. That's what I see is happening. Meanwhile, the immigrants are coming here replacing us. We're trying to become Africans and go to an unknown territory called, an unknown outcome that you can't control, no guarantees. But people are going to fall, and people are going to get broke, and people are going to get scammed, and people are going to get done. And no one's going to save us once in mass number we trust.
Mm-hmm.
Once we fail, who's going to help us? Nobody. It's just going to all be all about the people that's in power, going to still take the money and use it how they've been using it. Period.
Then my next question to you: what solutions do you have to offer? For me, I believe we need some type of Black family council in terms of everything starts with a family unit, and we work from there.
Everybody
And
has
then
to take an individual, though, has to work on themselves. And unfortunately, a lot of these men are not wanting to worry about working on themselves. They're worried about passport bros and all this other stuff that they're doing. And people are suggesting that they continue to do, not raise up and be aware of what's happening to them, everywhere. I mean, we're being targeted. And they're worried about getting their thrills. And it's just really a strange time to be Black American because people are not focused on the right stuff. I mean, I think that we shouldn't celebrate holidays no more. I haven't been celebrating holidays for 5 years, and I have money because I don't. And I think that we should just, kind of like self-preservate and think about what we're doing and how we're spending and I help out homeless people. That's what I do. I cook sometimes for them. I'll give money if I can't cook. If I see a need, there's a lot of homeless people where I live. It's sad. It's really sad. So I'll hand out clothes or what I can do. I'll help out the best way I can. But I only help where I can see the help going at the time of the need. I don't trust sending money to an unknown person that I don't really know. And you don't know if it's going to happen because you hear about what happened in Haiti all these times with all these hurricanes, whatever's happened over there, and they have all these funds that they claim they're going to help the people. And you see what happened to that, right? Nothing. They stole the money. It never reaches the people as they claim it's going to happen, and that seems to be what's about to happen to us ourselves.
Then I think, do we need like another self-identity revolution? Because again, other communities, especially the men, understand their legacy and the importance of sustaining and creating a legacy. So,
well, I already
once
self-identified myself to the Black Caucus and to a power of attorney because I'm really tired of a lot of Pan-Africans trying to speak up for me and trying to represent for me and trying to say I'm African and trying to say all these things. People just coming over here, just throwing ideas up against the wall and never bothering to ask if that's what we want. And I don't like the idea that people are just making us, be a part of whatever their idea is about. So I've actually went to the post office. I did a self-declaration. I had it notary signed, and I mailed it certified to get proof. And I made a file for myself, and I'm going to be researching my family and making my own file, researching my own family, and getting ready because people are just they're just making calculated assumptions that they should be able to make us over. And I'm like, we're not slaves though. What's wrong with y'all? If you want to make yourself over, do that on your own. Don't say I'm designating myself the leader and these people's representative, and I want this plan for them to go to African. I'm like, who are you? I never said I wanted to go to Africa. I don't hate Africans or nothing. My brother's married to a Ugandan woman. I have a nephew, half Ugandan. You know, it's all good. But I don't like the idea that random people could just come to America and just make up stuff as they go and somehow implicate us into their idea without even bothering to see if that's what we want. Get a list, get those people that are interested, and do what you want to do. Don't try to get us all embedded into what you came up with. That's just rude, and it has really angered me to see how bold and ridiculous people think that it's okay to do to us. We don't do none of this stuff to nobody else, but everybody seems to think they could do it to us. Like, what is going on? Do you see they're doing it to the Jamaicans, the Haitians, and other Africans? No, they're just doing it to Black Americans. That has got to stop. So I say self-declare your own identity personally to protect yourself. And I say research your real physical family that you can find here in America to make a file. And all these other people that's doing all this extra stuff is scaring me. It's making me really irate that people think they can speak for me. And I didn't ask for you to speak.
I respect your perspective, sister, and I really do. I do think we need to critically look at this matter. A lot of people, because for example, I invested in a Tulsa real estate fund. Again, I've invested in Tariq Nasheed's many ventures. So, and I'm seeing the recent situation between.
Whatever happened to the Tulsa real estate fund?
Well, we're still on it. We got a payout last year, so hopefully, I'm hoping we get a payout this year.
But everybody, I see that one guy did, man. He was so proud. He sent out a check, but it was only like $27 a piece, something like that.
Yeah, but you also have to understand, we're collectively bringing our money in together.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, I knew I wasn't.
That I agree with. People owning something, but there was some people who went into it thinking it was going to be a get rich quick.
Yeah, but I knew that wasn't the case. I knew I wasn't going to get rich. Well, a lot of people did, and the next thing you know, they're bashing it. But what made me proud was that they were able to invest in a property here of a lady who was in a compromised situation here. I live in the DC area, and help her refinance her home, fix her home, and be able to sell it and move out and help her family. So that's the reason why. These are the reasons why I invest in things like that. It may not necessarily benefit me 100%, but at least it will benefit the Black community nationwide. And he's investing. You also got to send United States.
Where is he at? Does he have is he on TikTok? On YouTube? I don't see.
No, right now he does everything. He has a private. If you unless you invested, he has a every month. He has a private virtual meetings, and if you didn't invest, you don't have access to it because of so much bashing the fund has had is really bad. I mean, I even had someone send things to me, and and to me, at some point we have to invest in ourselves. Again, I knew it wasn't get rich quick type of situation, and I'm not trying here to promote it, but we have to come to some type of understanding that we have to work together, and it's not perfect. It's hard. It's difficult, and I respect my sister because a lot of people have been scammed. Even in my community here, we had a pastor saying that he was going to invest in properties here, and he ran off with the money. So at one point, when are we going to start building the necessary infrastructures that we need here in America and globally? And it's hard.
And that's what we're trying to
But we
do.
have
We're
to
talking
start
about
from
building.
somewhere.
I would say that,
We're not
how
talking
can I
about
trust a plan in Africa if I can't see any proof that you guys could do it here? You guys want to skip America and want to so-called bless Africa. We don't have no clue that you can.
Well, we have.
Why can't y'all get a land here, build a log house here,
Sister, let me talk.
do something tangible here
Look,
that we
Jay,
can see, and we can understand that you have prospect or possibility to do stuff.
Look at Jay Morris.
But I can't just throw money at somebody random and just trust. I can't do
Well, I
that.
don't think Jay Morris, though, because he's buying properties, own buildings and stuff like that. People own something, so that's building something that shows it can be done. And Africa is just one part of what we're trying. We're not saying a bum rush the coast. You think we're just talking about bum rush the coast? I'm not a bum rush the coast Negro. I'm saying build in America, build our investment clubs. I was part
But
of.
what have you built here in America? You only talk about Liberia. Every time I hear you, you just got Liberia on your mind, or Sierra Leone, either or.
I have my own business here, you know, and not not only that, right? I was part of a SUSU 2 years ago before I got kicked out. You know, I was part of SUSU. We raised like a $500,000. I had a dispute with one of the leaders of it because my radio show. She was the one who produced my radio show, and then she got fired, and she wanted me to end my radio show with them. And I said, no, I like where I'm at, and so she kicked me out of the SUSU. But we look.
What's a SUSU?
Hold on. These are gifting. These are gifting things, right? These are the black people pulling their money together, right? And when you get to a certain point, when you bring people in, you get a payout. I made $1,400 like within like 3 weeks, right? And then we started another one. We just put $200 in, right, or $100 in, right? And then you don't have to bring nobody in, but when you get on the third week of level, and that $500 turns into $2,000, right? You get paid a $2,000 payout, right? And you basically take that. No, it's $1,000 payout, and you take $200 of that, put it back in, and then you go back in line again. So the next time somebody comes in, you get paid out again. You just keep putting money back in. Guess what? We had that thing up to like almost $1 million. That's black people, and these are all black women that were running this.
So where's that money at?
It's still there. You know, they're still growing good. They're good. It's called the flowers. Look up the flowers.
I'm confused on you. You said it's still there, and I don't understand what Sue is or whatever word you said.
See, if you're in the black culture, an African American culture, right? Not to insult you or nothing like that. We have those things we call it susu, but it was actually called gifting. Gifting is old. It means that you're gifting money and it's tax free. And so it's a pool of money. It's like a lottery. It's a pool of money. You put money in and everything, and then you get a payout. Immigrants have been doing it for years, you know, and stuff like that. So we got things like that going on in the black community all over the country. You know,
but you still ain't got no land, though.
What?
In America, you still ain't got no land, and you guys have not collectively, as men, got together with a land.
I own land.
In America.
My family owns land in North Carolina. Not all of us in that situation you're talking about.
I'm saying, though, for the unity that we seek for the confidence that we need to see to be built upon, that we have never. It's kind of like we're given these ideas floating out on YouTube, and we're told and expected just to throw money at people.
Bomani has got people. He's taking people to the continent. They're enjoying themselves, and they're investing in Africa. They're building properties on the property we have in Ghana. You know, it's not for everybody.
Well, I mean, I know it's not for me. The only reason why I come to these spaces, to be honest, is because too many people speak on my behalf, and others like us, and they keep saying rhetoric like absolutes, like we want this, and we don't want reparations. We want land. We want language. We want culture from Africa. We're a desire of our ancestors. All this fluffy and fantasy stuff that I'm not built on. And I don't want nobody misrepresenting me. I want people that are more level-minded to be more truthful about how they feel and be able to have their own voice to speak their truth. And I don't want to be sidelined by others parroting the same message that is not resonating with my spirit. So I'm not going to just sit back and complain among myself, twiddle my thumbs and be mad. I might as well join in the festivities, even though it might be uncomfortable. But I'm not going to just be asked out and let people speak on my behalf and me not say nothing. I'm not going to do that. That's why you see me. Just so that you know, in case you didn't know.
Okay, a quick question I want to ask is, now, do you have that same smoke for when I look at Black popular culture right now? You got people
Absolutely.
like Megan Thee Stallion. Do you like the fact that she's speaking on behalf of Black womanhood? You know,
I don't like rappers today, actually. She just had a case I really wasn't paying attention to until, I guess that guy got charged or getting charged, whatever. But you know, like the Latinos and Jamaicans are trying to say that our music is trash and they built hip hop and all these other lies that they're trying to snatch away everything. My channel, I had to start over again because 2 months ago I was talking about transgender situations. Seeing how men are now trying to claim to be us and they're trying to advocate for us too and all that. And I got triggered on one of my videos, and so my channel got taken down. So I'm starting all over again.
Wow.
But, huh?
Wow. The things
Yeah,
you
but I'm talking about music and other things too, not just Pan African talk, because that's what my channel was primarily about: research on all the things that I discovered on Pan Africanism in Africa and the hypocrisy of a lot of people and the scamming. But now I'm kind of like,
How do I find you, sister? I'm sorry. Where do I find you?
Black Righteous Folks Home. That's my name. So if you just put the letter 4 and Black Righteous Folks Home, you'll find me. And I am a little bit rough around the edges. I'm a real blunt, straight shooter type because I think that there's too many people just sing-songing too much, and since not many men are speaking like I do, sometimes Knack does. Sometimes we clash too. Me and Knack has butted heads too. Before now we're kind of good, but I don't agree with everybody on everything. But I can respect if someone's consistent. And he's now more consistent. He used to be, kind of Pan African, kind of not, kind of back and forth, and I didn't really like that. That's why we clashed. But I'm pretty much straight. As I'm talking right now, that's how I am. I'm not going to be fluffy though. I show raw stuff whenever I talk, just to showcase the hypocrisies of how Africans really talk. Because I know when I came to YouTube in 2018, when I broke my ankle, every time I heard people talk about Pan Africanism, everybody was talking about this kumbaya stuff, and Africans weren't being real. And now they are. Like if you go to Khazarian Empire and you go to African Millennial, now people took the gloves off and they're like really talking, and they're letting it be known about tribalism and other things that we don't typically hear from them, like a Tunija and others like that, who don't want you hearing the types of culture issues that they have because they want us to just believe in kumbaya. And I don't respect Tunija and others like that because that's dangerous to sell that falsehood while you're not even there. He's in the UK but telling us to go in his stead. That's very rude to me. In my opinion, that's very rude.
Okay, I'll definitely check your channel out and we can get into more in-depth conversations. Again, all I have is my people, That's how I feel, Is unfortunately we have a cesspool of scams, like you rightfully have said. But we gotta climb out of this. We gotta climb out.
How do you climb out of it? Who can you trust? And I mean, you could be on a plan for a whole year and still get scammed. I mean, who can you turn to? I mean, that's why I only feel comfortable with what I can control and what I can see. And if someone could trust you locally and you showcase what you do, then you can help out your people.
Unapologetic Negropean.
What was that?
Unapologetic Negropean.
What about him?
Do you like him?
Sometimes. I mean, he did help out with the Lou Major breaking of the. Actually, he helped bring that information out, and he confirmed what I had said about Lou Major. Actually, that's when I started paying attention to him more, and people, hit him up about calling out Lou Major, and I thought that he had more integrity.
He came after we shut him down. Basically, he came after Bomani. He just was on a roll.
Yeah, I saw that interview. Bomani was on one. I don't know why you took the interview with Unapologetic Negropean, because obviously he was looking to set you up, Bomani. I saw when that interview happened.
But he got destroyed. His whole.
I don't know if he's destroyed. I think he just had a baby, didn't he? Did he just have a baby?
He's with a white woman, and he changed his name to Tune Africa because he
He
stopped.
did?
Because he doesn't even mention the Bomani anymore. Because we did like what 4 shows Bomani 5 hours long, and we ripped him to pieces. You know,
Well, I didn't see those shows.
No, we
But
did.
I like the fact that at least he exposed Blue Major because no one else was going to do it. Most certainly, Dynasty Demir wasn't going to do it.
Bottom line, if you listen to me, I was saying I never liked Blue Major from the beginning. Him and I were arch enemies on Dynasty show.
And I can confirm that Kala did tell me about him long time ago.
I
said, it's like, Bomani, keep away from that guy.
Keep a guy right.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how disrespectful he was about talking to us and how people just clamored to hear his words. I was like really.
My issue the whole time was people gave him a platform. People gave him a platform, and he had no credibility. And
that's what I'm saying. Bingo. That's my point, Muhammad. You got my point. They allow people to use their platform, become superstars, and they scam. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not us.
But Kala's the one that would literally call these. Literally, so you and him on the same page. I know.
But don't you find it odd that Dynasty Demir has not been held accountable for bringing him to the platform and never said nothing? Isn't that not true?
I had a long conversation
in defense of Dynasty.
In defense.
Oh, go ahead. In defense of the Dynasty, go ahead.
So my whole thing is this: a lot of these guys, Brandon, these guys are young guys.
But Kala, let her finish, and then you go ahead and share. Michelle, go ahead.
In defense of Dynasty, I think this was a few years ago, and he did make a statement because I remember when that situation happened. I remember him being on the show a few times, and Dynasty did shut it down. And he's moving forward.
That's all he said. Though he never said that he scammed. He never said he was wrong. He never said he was sorry. He never said none of that. But you brought that man to the platform, and you let the people believe because of who he is that Blue Major could be trusted. That's my point. So he used.
But also, Blue Major used to come in and comment on some of his topics.
Huh?
He used to just come on at like how we are now. He used to come in and talk like I am now. I mean, I'm just a regular person, and I can put my plug in. That's what I vaguely remember. And when I researched about Blue Major, I wasn't feeling him too much. It just his persona and all that type of stuff was a turn off to me. So I never really got into that. And then the next thing you know, that situation occurred. And that's what I remember. And to me, I'm sorry about the people who got scammed. Many of them have moved on with like Pan-Africanism Strike Back and other people in the community and moved on.
But it's not over.
How long are we going to go on this?
It's not over because Blue Major still has their personal information, their SSI information, all that. He can make credit cards. He could do whatever. It's not over per se.
Okay.
Because all their personal information is in his hands.
Then can we call someone? Can we call the authorities on him?
I'm just saying that
because
they gave up all their information and their money and their trust, and they got burnt in so many ways. And it might not even be over. Once he runs out of money, he might look at different IDs, sell the IDs for other people to burn these people. You don't know down the road how that's going to ripple effect behind them having their information.
To protect myself. To protect myself, I have identity protection to protect myself. Again, I have all state privacy protection, not a plug. I protect myself because I have scrupulous family members that
I'm saying that if someone has your social security number, where you were born, your address, name, and all that,
they don't even have to have that. They don't even have to have that to scam you or take your identity. They don't even have to have that.
Taking false IDs and getting credit cards and doing stuff in other people's name with your information that you give. That's what I'm saying. Like, this scam issue might not be done.
And you're absolutely right. It may not be done. So persons who were scammed, get some type of privacy protection plan, contact the necessary people you feel you need to contact and protect yourself. That's all I can suggest at this point for those
They
persons
didn't even
involved.
know his real name. Lou Major didn't even give his real name. They had to do an investigation, I remember now, detective or something, to figure out what that man's real name was. Out the gate, he had already devised in his mind that he was going to scam us, and they didn't even know his real name. That's what I'm saying. Like, anyone can say anything on YouTube.
His last name is Morency.
Now after they investigated, they figured it out. I'm saying that he didn't introduce himself that way, though. He gave another name.
Yeah, a lot of people have stage names in the internet world. I mean,
but he never had intentions of being decent. He had known all along he was going to scam.
If you're gonna do business with someone, we all have certain names, but the person at some point the person have to show you something. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't just. I mean, it's unbelievable. People don't put the work.
Let me just see this comment right here. He says, "Move on from the Lou Major lady topic." Like, they don't want you ever talking about this stuff because they want to perpetually keep us the ones that's gonna get got, and that's why I don't respect these type of whoever he is, Pan-African or not. I don't care. These types of people are seething and salivating in hopes that they can also get in on the festivities of scamming us. And so he's talking about get off the topic. No, bitch, this is our first time talking about the topic. What the fuck you talking about, ho? It's the first time we talking about this topic. If you don't like it, leave. So we gotta talk about it when everybody's just
can we talk about the pastors? Can we talk about all these pastors?
Yeah, I talk about. I don't believe in religion. I've given up religion 10 years ago. I don't do anything that's. I've woke up a lot of ways, and I don't do religion. I don't do holidays, and I don't do Pan-Africanism. As I can see, it's a scam for now. So I help local people where I stay, and feed people where I can see, and give out money as I can. And if I can, then I can't. But that's the best that I can do. And all this other talk, I just warn people, like, you might want to consider what has already transpired, or at least try to figure out how to investigate these people prior to trusting them.
The topic of tonight's show, like we've been talking about, we might not do this year, right? Is that going forward, right? The Pan-African movement, right, is going to have a lot of scrutiny, a lot of transparency, and stuff like that, or they're not going to get an okay or whatever like that. So there won't be any more Lou Majors and all that stuff like that in the future. We didn't have a handle on Lou Major. Bomani and I have nothing to do with that. I told Bomani from the start that I don't like this guy. It don't sound right and everything like that. And I told Dynas that too, but it is what it is. I don't think Dynas intentionally was trying to, but he's young, he's new into this movement, right? And I don't think Dynas really spent a lot of time in the streets. He don't have a street sense about
it. But can I ask both of y'all? I know the lady was going to answer that, but y'all don't feel like he should have addressed Lou Major so that we cannot allow this to continue?
He told me, okay, he wants to move past it and everything like that. The people that believe in him, like me, that said, okay, but he feels that he was doing everything on the up and up. And it wasn't just Lou Major, it was that girl Taiwo too.
Yeah, I remember her. Yeah, I think that she played the bad cop, good cop type of role.
It wasn't all Lou Major, and I said,
No, he was the leader in that though. He was the one that led the charge though.
And so he was like the whip.
Yeah,
there was a lot of other people involved. My guy Mike Jackson, he was involved because they was going to do this bank with the Swedish firm and stuff like that.
There's about 5 good ones that ran off with $500,000. They had their band of people though, like 5 of them that did it.
Also,
and the lawyer that was there too. The lawyer with Lou Major, the fake lawyer, whatever.
The problem was, right? This is the problem was, right? When you're doing a business on that level, right? It takes millions of dollars, right? Not no thousands.
What's that guy's name? Beretti. I don't care about my language, fool. I'm not here to appease you. I'm not African. I'm not going to Africa. I don't give a damn about men like you think I should. If you say stupid stuff, you get stupid prizes from me. Period.
And what I was saying was that when you do investment like that, right? The problem was they didn't have enough money, right? And so the expenses began eating up the principal, and that's why it all collapsed. You know, I don't really think they would try. I think they really made an attempt to do what they were trying to do. It's just that they probably didn't have the skill and stuff like that. They didn't have real people on the ground and everything. Bomani has people on the ground. I have people on the ground in Liberia. So we get ready to do stuff. It's going to be completely transparent, everything like that. You know, and before we collect a dime, it's going to be everything out on Bomani. Look at Bomani. You see the paperwork, the deeds, the land, everything you got. You got everything at your disposal, you know. So just saying, making a blank statement about Pan-Africanism, when you got friggin' people like Creflo Dollar and all these people taking millions of people money from people. You got Tariq Nasheed, where museum.
I wish we all would just leave church all together, all at once, and never return,
but the
and that
bottom
would
line,
really help
that
us.
always existed in Black America. You know, there's always been people. Yeah, we have Daddy Grace, we have Father Divine, we have all these people, these charismatic people that took money from Black America. That's never going to end. You know, we have.
I'm saying that obviously we have a problem with people depicting us as the preyed to be preyed upon, though. That's the point.
There's some Black people, right? Some Black people.
Plenty.
All Black people, you know.
I'm saying plenty look at us as the target, though.
They
you
can
don't
say
hear
that all you want, but the bottom line is this: if Black America generates 1 point, we give 99% of our money to white people every day, and we don't complain about it. So
I don't give 99% to. What do you mean? I pay my electricity bill, if that's what you mean, in rent. But I gotta live somewhere.
That electric company is owned by white stockholders and shareholders and everything.
I'm not gonna be without heat, as cold as it is. Are you crazy?
I'll say I know, but I'm saying is you're paying into the system, you know. So you go to the grocery store, you buy your stuff from Walmart or wherever you go to store. You put gas in your cars coming from the white-owned gas company, gas stations and everything like that, you know. So we're giving our money to the system anyway. And so I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm not condoning any of this, but what I'm saying is Black people give their money to white people in the trillion a year, billions of dollars in a year, every year. And they don't basically say, oh, white people taking all our money and everything like that. But so somebody Black does something.
Well, but they're not hustling us, though. They're not scamming us. We have the heat. We pay for them. It may be too high, but we're paying for what we want.
Like, let me see.
Well, at least we're getting something out of it. In other words, when you're being scammed, you're just giving away the money and it's not coming back again.
When people basically invested in J Mart, they call it a scam, but they own part illegal they own part of a real estate franchise. You know, they own parts. They can say, I own this. Parties. That's something that's ownership. And Black people always seeking ownership, you know, so they got something out of it. And some people say Jay Morris.
Did you hear about the FTX guy that got the cryptocurrency guy that got hemmed up with Shaq and Brady guy, the football, what's his name? The Patriots dude, quarterback. The crypto guy got called out for, I guess, a $1 billion scam or something, and it involved the celebrities. Did you hear about that too? That's what I see gonna bankrupt us all at once. Cryptocurrency. I don't trust cryptocurrency at all.
Not enough Black people are putting risky. Black people put the extra money in stuff. They don't. Nobody goes out there and nowadays Jim Baker, when he was a preacher, people would give land over to him, deeds of property. There ain't no Black person been able to get that sort of money out of Black people. You know, we did give it to Jim Baker. You know. And Jim
Do
Jones,
you trust cryptocurrency is what I'm asking you. Do you
I don't
trust
know.
cryptocurrency?
All I know is about cryptocurrency and everything. I thought it was like Black people.
Because that's where a lot of people want us to go. They're trying to get us to do an ecosystem that comprises with cryptocurrency and all these other things that's gonna bankrupt us.
About cryptocurrency because I thought Black people said we're gonna have an alternative trading platform or dollar. So in other words, if we're doing goods with trade internationally, we could trade with cryptocurrency. We don't have to use the U.S. dollar. That's what I thought it was all about. I didn't know it was about trying to.
There's a lot of scamming going on with that. That's what I mean. And people lose their money and they wake up with and be absolutely broke. It was alleged that guy Steven, that dancer Twitch that died, he was connected with that guy. and they're speculating that maybe he lost all his money. It's rumored. It was speculated why he might have taken his life behind that, maybe. But that's my point. Like, cryptocurrency is waiting for people to pull a whole lot of money, and people are going to get hacked. You can get those databases hacked, and you can lose all that money all at once, and then people wake up and they're just all broke and destitute. That's what I see is going to happen for a lot of people trusting all these different ideas that people coming out to us. They're not doing that to nobody else. They're coming to Black American. Everybody's idea, go to them first. It's like, wow, we're truly, truly sought after for target. And that's my own point. Own point. I'm done talking. I've said enough. But I gave you a lot to think about. You guys can believe me or not, but I said my piece. Thank you for having me on. And I'll check you guys out another time. But yeah, go to For Black Righteous Folks Home. You can check me out and see what I've been doing. But my channel is fairly new because I had to start over again. So that's what it is. Thank you for having me
My
on.
pleasure
How you
meeting
say
you,
your
and I hope
name,
you join me on your
Buhami?
channel.
How you say your name, Buhami?
Bomani.
Bumami?
Bomani.
Bomani. Okay, thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. Have a nice
I
night.
appreciate you for
My
sharing.
pleasure, sister. I'll check you out on your channel.
Okay, bye.
Yes, Kala, it's closing time. Final words.
Closing
Unless
time. Yeah, the club.
you have anything, or I should say, wrap it up. If you want to wrap it up, or if you want to
Yeah.
give any feedback.
Okay, well, I'll say this, right? You just have to be like the top of the show. There's a lot of people that are involved in stuff. I believe people start out with good intentions, but the road to hell is often paved with good intentions. And like I said, the best thing to do in this, because like I said, we have our detractors. We have people. What you're saying about the sister that was talking. There's a lot of people who think like her. They'll ignore all the stuff that we go through every day in America, but as soon as you start talking about something like Pan-Africans out of the country, they're gonna say, "Oh, it's a scam," and they'll use people like Luke, what happened to Luke Major and stuff like that to discredit us. But yeah, we stood the test of time. What we're doing. That's why I said I got a link with Brother Bomani, because I knew these days were coming. That people are gonna start coming after the Pan-African movement. They're gonna start coming out, saying, "Oh, these people," and I can't verify everything everybody's on. Because that's somebody like Mr. Rosenthal sends me updates on everything he's doing on the African continent. That's respect. He says, "This is what we're doing here. This is what happened." He sends me documents and everything, so therefore I can look at it and say, "Okay, I like that." But if people don't do that with me, like Bomani, he sends me his stuff. This is what we're doing. Boom, boom, boom. Then I can basically put my good name behind it. I never did that with Luke Major. And I was like, it just don't sound right. Don't pass the smell test. I had a couple of guys that in the BAO that got involved with that and lost money. And they were doing something with Luke Major and they lost money and stuff like that. And it was what it was. And I told him, I said, no, don't sound right. It sounds good. I know. See, I've been doing this for so many years. So many years, and I've seen things come and go, and the one thing we never did was build proper infrastructure. There's no African American banks on the African continent. Something we got to look out for. We don't have our insurance companies. We need our own real estate firms. We need our own warehouses. We need our own institutions on the African continent. We need our oversight. We don't have that. We have to build those things. When we build those things, and we can give people, we can verify people, we can do background checks and stuff like that. When we get to that level, and then we can say, okay, we got this person, he's credible, and we can he gets an okay. But until that's why we have to be mindful and wary of anybody's coming into the movement. Say, look, I can't people can't just hop on a chat a panel. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, blah 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 blah. Man, I can't verify it. And so that's what I want to say about that situation. But other than that, Bomani stood the test of time. He's done everything right. People are doing things. It's going good. So please don't lump all the Pan Africans in the same category. People call themselves Pan Africans. Some people are just money grubbing capitalists, and Africa is just a come up. But we're
Absolutely.
really trying to build something, you know. So.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate your brother as always, and hopefully, you know, folks, you know, we always got the link right there in the logo right there.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going. Thank you, Mr. Bomani, for having this platform. I think even though we went, you know, it was a quite intensive discussion, but certain discussions need to be had, and I appreciate your forum to have this discussion. So next time we can move forward in other areas and other directions. So sometimes we do need a minute to kind of go back, hash things out, and talk about it. You know, sometimes that's what we need as a people. We need to break things down.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward,
I agree. The bottom line is, like I said, we have nothing to hide. Bomani has nothing to hide, so we can talk about these things. You know, we can talk about these things. You know.
And then I have one question for Mr. Bomani about the property you have in the Cape Coast region. Can I buy like a unit? Like, you know, I just want a place where I can just put my stuff, maybe 2 bedrooms. You know, I'm not trying to maintain a place. You know, I don't want to take us too far off the topic. But is there an opportunity where I can just get like a 2-bedroom little place and come? Because I'm not trying to maintain property. I just want a unit, like a condo.
Yes, across from our land, they have houses, 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and 2-bedroom, 2 bathrooms. So my number and information is below. Text and email. You can just send me a message.
So is it within the community though?
No, it's across the street. It's where our office is, which is in another community. And it's
but is it with? Because my question, I want to keep it within the community. That's why I'm asking. Is it or? But again, I don't want to take us too far subject.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want some information on that, you'd have to text me and I'll just communicate with you.
Yeah, I just want like a 2-bedroom. I ain't trying to maintain property. I'm not trying to, you know, I just want to come in and come out.
Do you have
there's nothing that's like built there for you to go buy. You know, you either get land and build what you need to build, or you can build something. You can buy something that's already built, which is across the street, in another community, which is where we have our actual business office. But what we're doing is, you have to buy a lot and you have to build it.
Yeah, that's a lot of undertaking for me at this point. I just want to. Okay, this is what the price is. You buy it, it's yours. When I fly in, this is my space, and leave. You know.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm a microwave person.
You have to do it with other.
What'd you say?
Our project doesn't work like that. We don't have anything that's built. It's just ordered to build.
But but do you think you eventually get there for people like me? You know, who just microwave folks.
I mean, that's honestly always the goal. But you know, you're trying to do a development project and you just building from the ground up. But yes, if you had big money up front, that's the only way to do it. Yeah. So, but
yeah, because I'm looking at properties in like Accra. It is so expensive.
Yeah, so we do it in the cooperative economics model, where you just put your money together and you just take your things little by little and get it done over a period of time.
Why don't you go in with somebody else and y'all build a house together and you split it? The way you build a house in Africa, you could build it and have it sectioned off of one section. You have 2 kitchens and like a duplex. You know.
Okay.
You can build it with somebody else. Get another partner and say, we're gonna build a duplex. You know, that's my side, that's their side, whatever. And you got that one property you guys maintain together. You know, that's an idea. You know, we got to get out of this individual stuff. You know, you have like things. Maybe your side you get right now is an Airbnb. You know, why you're not there. You know, all the stuff like that. All these ideas. You know.
Yeah, because I mean, Africa is this place now. I mean, in terms of property development, and why are we as Americans so hung up on just stuck on? That's why I don't have an issue with treating sheep. Why aren't we going global? You can have a place here and have a place on the minor continent. Yeah, and a place in the Caribbean. Why aren't we?
Place all over. You have several places around the world. You know, you're not stuck.
Yeah.
People, it's a straw to straw mentality. It's a mentality. As long as they keep you in America, they can confine you to America. You know, if you're in Africa and you're doing stuff, and you got some sort of say so on the international stage, you know. And so therefore, yeah, you could be in Africa and participate in the culture over there and stuff like that. So people should not think of Black African Americans as just America. When you see white Americans, they're basically all over the world. You got white Americans living in the Philippines, they're living in Europe, they're living in Russia, they're living in Japan. And the only group of people that think that you're only supposed to be in the United States, last moment, we're in America. You know, nobody needs to freaking stick just in America, you know? We got to expand. We have the means to do it. Now, some people don't have the means. Stay in America and make your money and do what you got to do. But those who have the means and everything, you have a house in America, you could take it. You got like $300,000 worth of equity in the house. You could take like $100,000 out of that house, right, and build yourself a nice property on the African continent. You know, it's all kinds of means, and people do it. Mexicans do it. Everybody do it. Mexicans come over here making money. You know what they're doing with their money? They got land. I know a lot of Filipinos. They got big houses in the Philippines. You know, they work in America. And they say, I got this house, I'm retiring over there. I got land, I got a property and everything. They go there a couple of times a year. In other words, basically, we're basically saying that you need that escape. And you don't feel like you're burdened out. Like the sister was talking, oh, we got all these problems and everything like that. But if you had an escape, you know, or someplace to go to, you know, you could deal with America better. You know?
Serious.
So,
perfect. So please,
again, I see no issue.
We can close.
All right, and then again, thank you for having this discussion. I will continue talks with Brother Bomani about my request. And I love your haircut, Brother Kala. Love the haircut.
Everybody dissing my hair tonight, man. I didn't get to cut my hair, you know, tonight when I was a little out of shape. It was looked nice the other day, but now it's starting to, the edges and everything is out of whack. But yeah, it looked really nice the other day, you know. But thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, and I'll keep having these forums. You guys said these forums are therapeutic. This is love with therapy.
We'll be back Saturday night. You know, hopefully have a special guest with us. You know, and everything. You know.
Yeah, and let all the people who need to come in and voice their opinions come in and talk, because it's therapeutic. Let's air out our issues so we can move forward. Yeah. So, thank you so much, and have a good morning.
I appreciate you, sister. You take care. Yes, Brother Kala.
Yeah. So we did it again, bro. Almost 4 hours. You know, first show of the new year. You know, first show of the new year. We did it. But, you know, folks, man, like I said, this is where you want to be. This is the forum right here. Two leaders of the Pan-African movement right now. You know, we give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth and everything. So, you know, we got your back. You know, we got your back.
Cheers, businessman. All right, well, appreciate your family. So that's our contact details and information. Reach out. There's only so much we can talk about on YouTube, on forums, and things like that. So I'm a person that I'm communicating with people all throughout the week on business. You know, the full operation of Africa Tourism Investment Repatriation, technical and business operation. So family, and the journey continues. And so, Brother Kala, appreciate your energy, brother. And we're going to reconnect and we're going to keep it stronger. This is our year.
Yep, it's our year. Black power, brothers. You know, Black African power. Black dollars matter. You know?
Yes. Black dollars and black hands.
Black dollars and black hands in the black pockets, you know?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
So we got to push our people for serious business. Support more black-owned business. Stop taking the people to Africa and putting them up in white establishment. And you know, serious business, black dollars and black hands. You know, we got to motivate our people. Sometimes our people don't know better.
Yep, we gotta be the leaders of this. Live by example.
No?
You know, that's what we do.
Last time we spent some money with some black folks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we got to start checking people on. You got to give out your Pan-African report card, brother. You got a lot of F's to give out.
Yeah, a lot of L's, a lot of F's and whatnot. You know,
yeah, and L, you know, you got to take that loss right there.
You got to take that L, bro. You know, but we're trying to help people, you know, to get the Pan-African situation on point, you know. So if you get a D, you know, and say, look, how can I get it to an A plus, you know, and we give out the
excellence,
Black excellence, no half stepping, you know. People think they can come to the Pan-African movement half stepping, you know. We want to know your credentials. What do you got to bring to the table, you know? The BAO, one thing I loved about the BAO, we was able to attract high level educated people and engineers and stuff like that, you know, because they hear the message of infrastructure. And so I do that for a living, you know, so I can be part of this. So when we hit the ground in Liberia, it's just going to really come to life. We already got people on the ground in Liberia, you know, that's doing stuff and everything. So, we want to do that. We want to build schools. We're building a school in Liberia for technology. So it's, the bottom line is we want to spread. We want to basically spread throughout the continent and throughout the world and stuff like that, and be on the world stage. We're doing what Marcus Garvey dreamed about 100 years ago,
Yes, family, taking it there, family, in that direction. So yes, family. And that's what all of our t-shirts always say, inspired by Marcus Garvey, you know what I mean? Inspired by a true legend of this. And this is on laying the foundation in that direction. So that's where we are.
Yep.
You see the colors in the background that has Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and Kwame Nkrumah.
The Trinity.
There you go, family, and all the colors and everything. So yes, Kala, good night, brother. Good night, people. Good night,
all right,
family.
Brother. All right, brother. Good night. Peace. I'll call you tomorrow. Peace.